Shalom to everybody. Happy Sabbath to you here.
Shalom.
Glad to see y'all. Let's open up with a video here. The first one, let's open up with the North Korea video. Today's class is entitled Loving Thy Neighbor as Thyself, the Moral Law. Loving thy neighbor as thyself, the moral law. So there are a lot of things that I've sat back and I have watched, gave people in here, majority this side over here, space enough to repent and see what you was going to do. I didn't move on it. I didn't say nothing to you. Nothing at all. But it lets me know, obviously, the Spirit of the Lord ain't dealing with you. Because it's been months and we ain't took care of it. So everything has came to a head. Most High had to let some other stuff come out to be revealed he wanted me to talk about too before this class came out. So today's class is Loving Thy Neighbor as Thyself, the Moral Law. Everybody can be edified by this class, but the majority pertaining to this side over here, 98% of what I'm going to bring out here today. All right, so let's open up with that video about North Korea.
Yesterday, the situation with North Korea was tense, and today it is terrifying because we are possibly on the brink of war. Now, it seemed like that for years now. Constantly a ship goes in the region, or the regime in North Korea puts out a threatening statement. There's a lot of reason to be scared if you want to be, but it is recently ramped up just in the past 24 hours, especially when we find out this. The US is prepared to launch a preemptive strike with conventional weapons against North Korea should officials become convinced that North Korea is about to follow through with a nuclear weapons test, according to multiple senior US intelligence officials. Those intelligence officials told NBC News that the US has positioned 2 destroyers capable of shooting Tomahawk cruise missiles in the region, one just 300 miles from the North Korean nuclear test site. American heavy bombers are also positioned in Guam to attack North Korea should it be necessary. And earlier this week, the Pentagon announced that the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier strike group was being diverted to the area, which brings with it additional ships capable of firing cruise missiles and all of that. Now, in the wake of that report coming out, I believe late last night, some people have said no, that's actually not true, and that those multiple senior intelligence officials were all simultaneously lying to NBC News. It's possible when we get into the response from China and from North Korea that there's a reason they're trying to back off from this very hostile position that they'd set. But as of right now, it is entirely possible that were they to conduct another nuclear test, which they've done over the past decade or two, that a war could begin. And if we launch missiles, we don't know how North Korea might respond, but I think that there's reason to be scared. What do you guys think?
I mean, we have like 2 idiot man-child going toe-to-toe playing with their big toys, right? Like Donald Trump's now started to play with the big toys, the bombs, and he's super excited about what he can do with these. And he's like, ooh, where can we go next? And drop another mother of all bombs. Maybe it's North Korea. Maybe it'll be a nuclear weapon. I'm sure there's no difference between electing Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. I mean, there was just zero difference. I'm sure Hillary Clinton would be doing the exact same thing right now, dropping bombs all across the world, using the largest conventional weapons we have, and antagonizing us into World War III. You know, I mean, we've really put ourselves in a dangerous situation. We're facing dark days. This could be a world war.
All right, so the reason why I played this video here, because we read this stuff in the Bible about bombs being dropped and things of that nature, but for some reason, the words that God has written in his own book using the mouth of his prophets, we have a hard time believing that they are actually true. So what our job here as leaders of the people that God has set us up, is our job to make the Bible real to you, that the stuff that's written in this thing is actually closer than you think it is. But for some reason, there's no fear of God in our people where they keep rehearsing the same things over. The old man is still alive and well today, knowing daggone well the old man can't go into the kingdom of heaven. But stuff is right here at your doorstep. Yeah, Esau said it's imminent. It's right here. Let's go to that next video, because that's North Korea, right? We're talking about that. Trump. Let's see how Esau responds about that. Go to that next video.
There have been calls for all sides to tone down the rhetoric when it comes to the situation on the Korean peninsula. But there was no sign of that on the second and last day of US Vice President Mike Pence's visit to Japan. North Korea was the dominant theme of a strong speech to US and Japanese naval personnel aboard the American aircraft carrier Ronald Reagan.
History will attest, the soldier does not bear the sword in vain. And those who would challenge our resolve or our readiness should know. We will defeat any attack and meet any use of conventional or nuclear weapons with an overwhelming and effective American response.
Part of the response to the increase in provocation from Pyongyang was supposed to be the deployment of another US carrier and its supporting ships. Just over a week ago, the US government implied that the ships were on their way to the Korean peninsula, raising the possibility of a military strike. Instead, it emerged they were heading in the opposite direction, towards pre-planned exercises with Australian forces. US defense officials say the embarrassing and potentially dangerous mistake was a communication breakdown. According to the US government, the ships will be off the coast of the Korean peninsula later this month, acting as a deterrent against any further missile or nuclear tests. But the US government and its allies, South Korea and Japan, agree that peaceful pressure, in conjunction with China, is the best way to bring North Korea into line. But in Pyongyang, the propaganda continues. State television aired footage of a musical performance to mark the birthday of the late founding father, Kim Il-sung. His grandson and the current leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, attended the show. It ended with mock footage of missiles flying over the Pacific, striking the United States and engulfing it in flames. Wayne Hay, Al Jazeera, Tokyo.
The reason I pull that video is because them strong words that Esau talked about, the soldier does not bear the sword in vain. Don't think that these other nations are just going to lay down and not fight back. God has already spoken in the Bible before any of you all was born in here. I am going to wipe the sinful kingdom off the face of the earth. You see it being prepared. Like a little kid that wants some cookies. You see his mother in the kitchen making the dough, whipping it up, putting it in the oven. And he knows in a certain amount of time that when the ringer goes off in the oven, what's going to come out is those cookies. You see all of this stuff happening, but you don't believe it. You truly don't believe it, but if you did, you would shape up and act right. Because you read about when your forefathers didn't believe God when he was speaking through the prophets until Nebuchadnezzar surrounded Jerusalem. And it was too late. So they're talking about missile destroyers, cruise missiles, nuclear bombs. Go to that last one that I got up here. Because y'all, you get caught up in your everyday life, your own emotions, your own feelings. She said this, he did that. They did this to me. I don't like them. You forget that all the while you caught up in your emotions, God is planning on destroying this place. And you will get caught up with it. Play the video.
August 6, 1945, the Hiroshima nuclear explosion. August 9th, 1945, the Nagasaki nuclear explosion. Since these World War II attacks, nuclear weapons have become even more powerful. The Hiroshima bomb produced an explosion of 15 kilotons. 1 kiloton equals the explosive power of 1,000 tons of TNT. If it was detonated in New York City's Times Square, this is what it would look like. The radius of the affected area would be almost a mile long. This yellow circle indicates the radius of the explosion's fireball. Within the red circle, fatalities are near 100%, and all concrete structures are damaged or demolished. Within the gray circle, most residential structures are destroyed, and there are massive injuries and fatalities. The orange circle indicates the area in which third-degree radiation burns occur. But the sheer destructive power of that explosion pales in comparison to the largest thermonuclear weapon currently in the United States arsenal, the B-83. Created in the late 1970s, the B-83 can produce an explosion of up to 1,200 kilotons, which is 80 times the Hiroshima explosion. That's the explosive power of 1.2 million tons of TNT. If dropped on New York City, the radius of the affected area would be over 7 miles. Then, there's the 1954 Operation Castle Bravo, the largest nuclear bomb ever tested by the United States. It produced a 15,000 kiloton explosion, which is over 1,000 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb. If detonated in New York City, the radius of the affected area would be over 21 miles. But there's even one more powerful than that. On October 30th, 1961, the Soviet Union tested the Tsar Bomba. It is the most powerful weapon ever detonated. It produced a 50,000 kiloton explosion. That's 3,300 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb. The mushroom cloud was so tall that it dwarfed anything on Earth. If dropped on New York City, the radius of the affected area would be over 31 miles. The Tsar Bomba was created over 5 decades ago. Today, there are an estimated 14,900 nuclear weapons in the world. If not for the Partial Nuclear Test Ban Treaty of 1963, we might have even more powerful bombs today.
All right, so as you can see, since the 40s when they dropped Hiroshima, Esau has not stopped making nuclear bombs. The Lord has put it in his spirit to keep creating those bombs because it's an end-all purpose for him. Like the Edomite said, the soldier does not bear the sword in vain. They will be used. They didn't just make one Tsar Bomba, they made bunches of them. And they've got things, Russia has things bigger than that now called the Sarmat. I think it's a Sarmat 83, what is it? It's the Satan 2. That can, one of them can destroy all of Texas or a country the size of France. Just one of them, right? So let's open up. Give me Isaiah 46, 10 and 11.
Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 10. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient time the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
And God's counsel and his pleasure is, as you read in Revelation, some of you new brothers and sisters never understood it. It says, whoa, Babylon has fallen. It has fallen. She has received double for her iniquities. America in the Bible is known as Babylon, the land of confusion, where women are equal to men, men want to be women, women want to be men, you can marry your dog, you can do anything. It's the land of confusion. Read verse 11.
Calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man that executeth my counsel, from a far country. Yea, I have spoken it, I will also bring it to pass. I have proposed it, I will also do it.
I have purposed it, and I will also do it. And we know that it says in Numbers, I believe it's 23, it says, God is not a man that he should lie. All you got to do is sit here and wait for it to come to pass. You see it coming to pass before your eyes right now. But your actions ain't lining up with what you say you believe. Go to 2nd Ezra 15. Start at verse 1.
2nd Ezra,
15 and 1. Go ahead.
chapter 15 and verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee.
The incredulity is the unfaithful, the unbelieving. Read on.
For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
All those that don't believe that the end is coming and the Lord is preparing war will die in your unfaithfulness. Here in the land of your captivity. You will never see your homeland again. And the Most High just ain't going to kill you and it be over with. He's going to make it perpetual. Where all those who discipline their body and love their neighbor as they self can keep on looking at those that lived in hatred. And just couldn't put that old man to death that blamed it on, and this is how Benjamin women get down. This is how Judah women are. What you're really saying is you ain't put the old man to death. That's what you're really saying. Because Benjamin women, Judite women, Ephraim women ain't supposed to act like that. Like the devil, devising evil, wicked plans to break up unity. But all praise to the Most High for the Spirit of the Lord. What he did was he used you, then exposed you. Most High is something else. He'll use you, then expose you to get his will done. All right, but we'll get to it later. Jump down to verse 14.
2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulations. Behold, saith God, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me.
That's what you see with all these different countries preparing for war. Go ahead.
Which are from the rising of the sun,
From the east,
from the south, from the east, and Lebanese, to turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen. So will I do also, and recompense in their bosom.
jump down to verse 46. Let's see who he's going to recompense.
2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 46. And thou, Asia,
And who?
Asia,
Asia. Hey, weren't we just watching about some Asians on TV? Kim Jong, whatever his name is. Thou Asia. He mentioned the whole continent, the whole race of people. Moab is what he called them in the Bible. And thou Asia. Read on.
that are partaker of the hope of
They
Babylon,
want to be just like Babylon. Go ahead.
and art the glory of her person. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee.
Read on.
Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore, saith God, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower, when the heat shall arise that sent over thee.
What's going to rise?
When the heat shall arise that is sent over thee.
What we are reading here is God speaks through parables and similitudes. He don't just come out and say the bomb. He says the heat that shall arise over thee. We just saw what that heat was in those videos. And it's coming for the same people that we are reading about in the Bible, and we see it coming to pass right there. Give me Luke 21. Start at verse 9.
Luke chapter 21 and verse 9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass. But the end is not by and by.
That's why I gave you the analogy of a little kid watching his mother bake cookies for him. You see it, the Lord is warning you, it's not right now, but it's coming. Read on.
Verse 10. Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilence, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you, and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues, and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake.
Don't we see that happening right now? This is how I'm trying to convey to y'all what time we are in. We read in 2nd Ezra, speak to my people the words of prophecy, for they are faithful and true. We read prophecies where Asia shall be destroyed. We see the actual, it ain't like those is made up people. Those is real people. We come to Luke, where the Lord says, you shall hear of wars and rumors of war. And it goes on down. And then we get to the point where he says, but before all this, they shall lay their hands upon you and persecute you, delivering you up into the synagogues and things like that. That is what's happening to us right now as we speak as an organization. You see it, it's like, what's the name of them people? Southern Poverty Law Center, right? SPLC is their name. Have deemed the Black Hebrew Israelites as a hate separatist group. You also have, they're putting up, so y'all don't see, you got apologetics having conference seminars of how to combat the Israelites if you see them on the street. Conventions in Tallahassee, having conventions. The dude named, what's his name? Vocab. Having conventions on how to come against us. You got the LGBT posting up signs on telephone poles, paying people to scan the internet for people that speak hateful against the LGBT community. All of that targeting us. You also get persecuted by your own family member when you decide to give your life to the Lord. You see the wars and rumors of war happening. You see you getting persecuted. All of this stuff is truly happening in your life right now. But you bypass it in your mind like it really ain't talking to me. It ain't happening right now. I got time to keep on hating people and do my own thing. In one ear and out the other. But you see it with your own eyes. Jump down to verse 25.
Luke chapter 21 and verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth, distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's heart failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory.
So what is going to shake the heavens, meaning rulership, is the bombs we talking about. That's what's going to shake heavens, means rulership. That's what's going to shake them. And at that moment, Christ said, I'm coming back. Now this is one thing that I'm trying to help paint the picture for y'all to understand. When, who in here knows a little bit about history, World War I, World War II, by show of hands? I'm talking about the actual history of it. Okay. So when World War I started and World War II started, it wasn't like they said, press the button, sound the alarm, and then everybody jumped in a daggone, what you call a tank, and a damn plane and a boat and drove across the ocean and said, okay, now it's time to fight. It happened exactly how we read it. You hear wars and rumors of war and commotions. First, it was Russia that hopped into it. And then Iran came after that. And then here came Turkey. Oh, then here came the United Kingdom, because they had some stake in Iran. When we read about these things, with Christ coming back, they're going to announce World War III, and you're going to be able to, oh, people in the world, I pray it's not y'all, oh, World War III, we had war with another nation. Here comes Japan. Oh, I got to hop in it too, because I got stake in Japan. Well, here comes Iran. It's going to happen the same way and lull people to sleep where you ain't even thinking about it, thinking you got time. And then, boom. Because he said, I come like a thief in the night. You never know when a thief in the night's going to show up. You know this is coming, but you don't know at what time. I just want to put that in your mind for you all that think, oh, it says that Babylon's going to be destroyed on the third woe. So I know at that moment they say World War III, it's it. I'm going to look up and see where the bombs and he coming from. No. Christ said they shall be eating and drinking and giving in marriage. And he going to show up. Read verse 27 again.
Luke chapter 21 and verse 27. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass.
When they begin to come to pass. We see these things coming to pass. Did we not just read about Asia in the Bible? Did we not just see a video them talking about going to war with North Korea? North Korea's over, Japan's right next to it, China's right next to it, South Korea's right next to it. That's all of Asia. We see these things happening. They coming to pass. Read on.
Then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
I'm on my way. You better get yourself together. I am on my way. Write these in a book, words, paper, for these are faithful and true. Go to 2 Peter.
Hey, officer, you said something real key on the way from camp today. Everybody is against us, right? Hell, our own family members in the world is against us. Then we got all the nations against us. So who is the only people we got? Right here. The only people that's going to go to bat for you in this truth, it's in this truth. That's it. So we shouldn't be bitter against one another.
2 Peter 3 and 10.
2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise.
That's what he's talking about. Look up. I'm coming. You see these coming past? You don't know when, but I'm coming like a thief. Right when you're asleep, thinking everything's all good, resting comfortably. Read on.
And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved.
Seeing then. You seeing it. You literally seeing the scriptures come to life. It ain't just words on a paper. You see it happening physically. It's like a play written out. Somebody wrote down a play, then you go to the play and they acting it out. You seeing it. The people are acting out what God wrote down. They are people in a play. We all in a movie playing our role. The nations are playing their role. You act like the movie ain't gonna end. Go ahead.
What manner of persons ought ye to be?
What manner of people should you be? Can you pull up the definition? The moral law. What type of morals should you have as a people? If this stuff is because I don't want you to think that it's gonna be some sisters around there with some stank ass attitudes walking around in the kingdom, holding grudges, evil surmising, sowing discord, saying whatever you want to another sister, don't care how they feel. No barrier on your mouth, no bars set upon your mouth like the scriptures say. You think God, first off, Christ ain't putting up with the damn headache. He done went through enough of it with us for thousands of years. He walked the earth with us and seen it face to face in the kingdom where it's going to be forever. He going to sit there and let y'all over here be bitter and envy each other. Crazy. You lying to yourself. That's right. But I'm here to tell you the truth. You ain't getting in. Thus saith the Lord. Wasting your time. So it said, what manner of people should we be? Morals, right? Give it a definition first. Scroll up. There we go. I'll take that. Verse 3. Number 3. Conformity to ideals of right human conduct. Right human conduct. How you carry yourself. How you handle yourself. How you treat other people. Morals, morality. Go to the synonyms. Synonyms. Character. What type of character should you have knowing this stuff is going to come? decency, goodness, honesty, integrity, probity, whatever, rectitude, righteousness. We read a lot of definitions that always lead back to righteousness, rightness, uprightness, virtue, virtuousness. We see the antonyms: badness, evil, evildoing, immorality, iniquity, sin, villainy, wickedness. If you find yourself in the midst of evil, a lot of you over here are, iniquity and sin, you have bad morals, bad behavior and conduct with God. Let's see related words. Because you know when you go to related words, that means that I got even more damn words to explain this thing. High-mindedness, honor, incorruptible, irreproachability, irreproachableness, right-mindedness, scrupulousness, appropriateness, correctness, decorum, etiquette, fitness, propriety, seemliness, ethics, morals. Let's see some near antonyms. Ooh, they went in, boy, I tell you. Impropriety, indecency, indecorum, indiscretion. Read about discretion and debauchery, degeneracy. Think God calls us a degenerate people? These are the type of people. Ooh, sinfulness. I didn't see that. Dishonesty, crookedness, perversion, underhandedness, slick, setting up, plotting on people. Lowness, meanness. A lot of you over here is mean. I'm gonna tell you straight up, you're mean. Come in here, you don't say nothing to nobody. You didn't come in here. I know you're here to hear the word of God. All of us here to hear it, but we see the same people every single week. You should at least have something to say to somebody you ain't spoke to. Still baffles me too, how we could be in the truth for years. These be brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters. You don't know their name. I ain't never met a brother I ain't know his name. I'm talking about real brothers, like, you know, I see you all the time. You my brother. Not me walking up on my brother that the Most High had me grow up with. I'm like, what's your name again? You grew up with me. You crazy? I don't remember your name. I don't know it. He's like, something wrong with him. We see each other all the time, and he still don't know my name. He's crazy. Because the scriptures say, know them that labor among you. So let's see. Go to Sirach. Sirach 17 and 11.
Sirach chapter 17 and verse 11. Besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage. He made an everlasting covenant with them and shewed them his judgments. Their eyes saw the majesty of his glory, and their ears heard his glorious voice. And he said unto them, beware of all unrighteousness.
All sin. We don't.
And he gave every man commandment concerning his neighbor.
He gave every man a commandment concerning his neighbor. Why is that mentioned right there? Because he knew the single greatest thing is going to be hatred between his people. Just gonna hate each other for just really ain't got no justified reason. You call it dislike, God calls it hatred. He don't think like you think. He gave you a commandment. Brothers, can you ask me a question? Where's the commandment that he gave concerning our neighbors? Any brother in here know? Onias, back row, against the wall. Somebody take the mic back to him.
Leviticus 19 and 17.
Leviticus 19:17. Let's go to it. That's the law that he gave every man concerning his neighbor. Let's get it. Leviticus 19:17.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him.
Read on.
Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord.
That's the commandment that he gave us concerning our neighbor. For some reason, it's just so hard for us to keep. So hard for us to keep for some reason. Let me ask this question before I go to the next one. Does any brother in here know how many different sets of laws we have? Sets. Brother Abraham, do that. Pass the mic back to him.
We have 5.
5, okay. Do you know them?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
We have moral law, civil law, sacrificial law, ceremonial law, and dietary law.
That's right.
All praise to the Most High. That's right. New brother, tell you've been studying. Which one would love thy neighbor as thyself fall under? Does any brother know? Brother Naeem, you can say it because you're up front. You think or you know? Speak up. The moral law. Love thy neighbor as thyself will fall under the moral law. But for some reason, can you go back to that definition of morals? I want to go to those antonyms. Up, right there. Oh, right there. For some reason, we find our people just straight badness. You're evil. You're evil doing. You're immorality. You're immoralist. Iniquity. You're full of sin. You're villainy. You're a villain. Full of wickedness. That's why it's so hard to keep. Because, you know what? I say that because the law says, love thy neighbor as thy love thyself. Everybody claim they love thyself. Why can't you love your neighbor? Go to Matthew 24:12. So the moral law falls up under, I said it. Loving thy neighbor thyself falls under the moral law. What's the law, one of the laws that he got done away with under those 5 sets? What was one of them? New brother with your hand up right there. Stand up. You got a microphone for you.
Yes, sir. The law of sacrifice.
Law of sacrifice. So that means if that's the only one he done away with, you're going to be judged on every single one of those other ones. When he opens up the books is your lives. The book is the Bible. And you'll say, hey, she was full of evil, wickedness. All them words that you learned in your captivity, that bastard tongue that I gave you because you committed sin in the first place. That was your rap sheet right before I came back. It says, thou shalt not do all of that stuff you did. What do you think I should do to you? Ain't that a question when you know you're wrong and he asks you anyway? What do you think I should do? Don't put yourself in that position. Matthew 24:12.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
That's why you can't love your neighbor as yourself. Iniquity has waxed strong, abounded here in the land of your captivity, and you take hold of it. Can a brother name some sins, some iniquities that we as a people out there in here that we commit against our neighbor? What is some sins? Brother Moses, what do you got?
Stand up.
Stand up, y'all.
Adultery.
Adultery? Okay, that's one. Brother Daniel.
Envy.
Envy, I like that. Envy. Envious. Just evil. Amosa. Covetousness, right? Covetousness is to desire something they have in an evil manner. Solomon, what you got?
False testimony.
False testimony. Liars. Make up stuff. Ezekiel, what you got? Theft. Okay. Jacob, what you got? That's okay.
Talking behind your back.
Talking behind their back. Backbiting. Ooh, I like that. I like this. Be good. Hamul, let's see what you got.
Murder.
Murder.
Different levels
Different levels
like that.
to that. Anyone y'all got that precept? Y'all got it?
I'll slap you.
All right, pull it. Because You might think, well, you think, oh, dang, I didn't see nobody put nobody else to death in here. You might have opened up a can of worms right there. But we're going to get to it. We're going to build up. Precept upon precept. Go ahead and read it. Go ahead and read it, though. We'll read 3:15.
Yes, sir. 1 John chapter 3 and verse 15. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer.
Is a what?
Is a murderer.
So it's more than just physical. The Lord came to the Lord, Christ made it harder to get in than it was at first. Because at first all you had to do was sacrifice. Whenever you felt some kind of way against somebody, we just sacrifice, I know he'll forgive you. Now he took that out the way and said, it's you that's going to be the sacrifice. So you're right, murder is a sin that we commit. In here, we do it out there in the world all the time. You find it in here some. Go to, what I got here, Matthew chapter 5, 43.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 43.
And this is one of the reasons why you have so many problems amongst the body over here. Is because you don't know who your neighbor is. This is what you got in your mind. Read that.
Ye have heard that it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies and bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
So you've been brainwashed in Christianity with that thing all your life, and there's still remnants of it in you because you still got the old man in you, so that thought is still there. And you got love for everybody else outside of here that hate you, besides the people that be in here you see all the time. You love the white, yes sir. You love the East Indian, thank you. Giving you money, thank you. You love the Arab man. My friend. He cool, Habib cool. But that ain't what it's talking about. Let's get the understanding on it. Exodus. Let's see where I want to go. Yep, Exodus 23. Let's go 4 and 5. What does it mean to love your neighbor as yourself? Who is it talking about?
Exodus chapter 23 and verse 4. If thou meet thine enemy's ox,
thine enemy, read on.
Ox, or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again.
Now who is this law that we read in Exodus 23 given to, brothers? Israel. It's not given to the other nations. Read on.
If thou see the ass of him that hateth thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him.
Thou shalt surely help. So the enemy that Christ is talking about in Matthew 5 will be those of your own people that you've got some discord between. Jump down to verse 22 to show you the difference between an enemy of your people and an enemy of the other nations.
Exodus chapter 23 and verse 22. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemy, and an adversary unto thine adversary.
Go ahead. Now let's see who he names.
For my angel shall go before thee, and bring thee in unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off.
You're going to put them to death. So that's the difference between what we read, enemies and hateth thee of your people, up in the chapter, and enemies of the other nations. Matthew 5:43 never talked about you loving your enemy that done hung you from the daggone trees. 1 Samuel 18:28.
1 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 28. And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was yet the more afraid of David. And Saul became David's enemy.
He became his what?
Enemy. Continually.
These is two Israelites, one from the tribe of Benjamin and the tribe of Judah. They were enemies. Saul hated David because the Lord was with him. Go to 1 Samuel 19 and 15.
1 Samuel chapter 19 and verse 17?
15.
15. And Saul sent the messengers again to see David, saying, bring him up to me in the bed, that I may slay him. And when the messengers were come in, behold, there was an image in the bed, with a pillow of goat hair for his bolster. And Saul said unto Michal, why hast thou deceived me so, and sent away mine enemy?
Said what?
Mine enemy, that he is escaped. And Michal answered Saul, he said unto me, let me go. Why should I kill thee?
Go to 1 Samuel 24 and 16. So we see the enemy that Christ is talking about, you are to love. Because David had plenty of chances to put Saul to death, but he didn't. He had mercy on him. 24 and 16.
1 Samuel chapter 24 and verse 16. And it came to pass, when David had made an end of speaking these words unto Saul, that Saul said, is this thy voice, my son, David? And Saul lifted up his voice and wept. And he said to David, thou art more righteous than I, for thou hast rewarded me good, whereas I have rewarded thee evil. And thou hast shewed this day how that thou hast dealt well with me. For as much as when the Lord hath delivered me into thine hand, thou killest me not.
That's exactly what I said. David had plenty of chances to kill Saul. Read on.
For if a man find his enemy,
Find his what?
his enemy,
Uh-huh.
will he let him go well away?
And that's what David did. He let him go away, heaping coals of fire upon his head. Read on.
Wherefore the Lord rewarded thee good for that thou hast done unto me this day. And now, behold, I know well that thou shalt surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel shall be established in thine hand.
Now go to Mark chapter 12. Precepts for Matthew 5 and 43. Go to Mark chapter 12. And we'll start at verse 28.
Mark chapter 12 and verse 28. And one of the scribes came, and having heard them reasoning together, and perceiving that he had answered them well, asked him, which is the first commandment of all?
Which is the greatest commandment of all that the Lord has given us? We read in Sirach, the first one he mentioned was he gave him commandment concerning his neighbor. Let's see what Christ says. Read.
And Jesus answered him, the first of all the commandment is, hear, O Israel.
Who?
Hear, O Israel.
That is the subject matter. Hear, O Israel. Read on.
The Lord our God is one Lord.
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment.
Read on.
And the second is like, namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Read verse 29 again.
Mark chapter 12 and verse 29. And Jesus answered him, the first of all the Lord commanded is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord.
Read verse 31.
And the second is like, namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these.
Go to Matthew chapter 5 verse 44. Now we got the subject matter of what Christ was talking about back in Matthew. He's only speaking to the Israelites to love thy neighbor as thyself. Read it.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 44. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
So that's the understanding on loving your enemies, those that hate you. It's still of your own people. Go to Psalms 119. Psalms 119 and 66.
Psalms chapter 119 and verse 66. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed thy commandment.
Do what?
Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed thy commandment.
I have believed thy. Teach me. Give me the knowledge of how to deal with your people. Because I believe in your commandments, Lord. The reason why David's reaching out and praying to the Lord, teach me of your commandments, the knowledge of is this. Jeremiah 4:22.
Jeremiah chapter 4 and verse 22. For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil.
They are what?
They are wise to do evil.
That's why you gotta seek out the knowledge of the Lord of how to deal with his people. Because we wise to do evil. We can come up with all manners of ways of how to plot on somebody, but don't know how to love them. I don't know. You know how I know it's true? Because I grew up like this. It's so hard for Israelites, you blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. It's so hard for you to just say, I'm sorry. I know it is. I grew up in a household where nobody said they were sorry. You just act like it didn't happen. It's over and done with. But you never really apologize for the evil that you've done to somebody else. Just sweep it up under the rug and go on about your life and act like it never happened. Forget about it. Let bygones be bygones. That ain't how we supposed to deal as a righteous people that God has called. Because it ain't going to go nowhere. Because the Most High is going to keep putting it up in your face until you learn how to deal with it. Because his end all is to get you to the kingdom. But if you don't want to deal with it, he'll remove you. He'll slowly put you out there and give your seat up to the next person. That's why you got to seek the knowledge of God, because we wise to do evil from the beginning, from our birth. Kids lie. They don't even know what lying is. They're wise to do evil. Go to Leviticus 19:17 again.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
That's a commandment that even David sought for. Love that thing. Read on.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
Let's correct thy neighbor. Correct it with some discretion. Read on.
And not suffer sin upon him.
Because you want them to get the kingdom too. If you love yourself. Read on.
Thou shalt not avenge.
Revenge. Go ahead.
Nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord.
Another reason for us, it's hard for us to put this thing into effect in society as a people is because we truly don't know how to love ourselves. That's the problem. You treat people how you was treated. And it ain't right. We was raised with bad morals, people. You was raised to be niggas here in America. Spicks. The white man broke you down till you was nothing. And then freed you and said, go on. Go. Fend for yourself. And whatever you learned on the plantation, it has been passed down from generation to generation. To the point where you say, why do you do that? I just don't know. We always done that. Why? I don't know. It's just how my mama was. My daddy was like that too. My granny was mean too. Grandpa was mean too. And they grandparent, my great grandpa, he was a mean ass old man. You don't know how to love yourself. We're gonna teach you here. Go to, let's see what I got here. Sirach 30:21. How do you love yourself? Sirach 30:21.
Sirach chapter 30 and verse 21. Give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thine own counsel.
In thine own counsel. Some of y'all, your thoughts will be racing in your head till you talk yourself out of something that could have actually been beneficial to you. You could have went to a brother or sister and fixed everything, but in your mind, that old man would just not let you fix the problem. In your own counsel, they did this to me. So they ain't wrong. I'm right. They wrong. They should have said something. And you stay stuck in that same spot, full of iniquity. Read on.
Verse 22. The gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days.
Read on.
Love thine own soul.
Do what?
Love thine own soul.
How we do that? Read on.
And comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow far from thee.
If you truly love yourself, you're going to forgive yourself of things that have happened in the past. The scripture says all things work to the good of them that love the Lord. You went through that so the Most High could break you down to bring you here, to build you back up, to get you to the kingdom. But you still harp and dwell on that old stuff and won't forgive yourself. Still rehearsing the righteous, not righteous act, the unrighteous acts in your mind over and over again, until it destroys you and it comes out of your spirit. And then you look for a spouse, and that same old stuff that you hold on to, you project it out on the closest person to you. Read on.
Love thine own soul and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow have killed many.
If you don't love yourself, you'll keep yourself in what we're going on reading right here is depression in the Bible. Some people fake themselves into a state of depression just so they can get some attention from some people and end up killing themselves. Read on.
And there is no profit therein. Envy and wrath shorten the life, and carefulness bringeth age before the time.
Read that last part, verse 25.
A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
If you love yourself, you control your eating habits also. What's that thing? Comfort food, right? You're feeling all sad and down about yourself. Comfort food. There's some people out there in the world that we see that, you know, daggone well, like, you done ate yourself into that situation because you hate yourself. You ain't seen love, ain't received no love from nowhere out there in the world. People been talking bad about you all your life until you ate yourself into an obese body, is what Esau calls it. I can't do it. I'm too small. But you know the one, the flip-flops and stuff be on the side. You walk on the sides of your feet. Back locked out like that. All this out here. You done ate yourself into that situation because you don't know how to love yourself. You worry yourself because you don't love yourself. Go to Sirach 14. I want to start at verse 11.
Sirach chapter 14 and verse 11. My son, according to thy ability, do good to thyself.
Do good to yourself. Some of y'all you just bring bad on yourself. You stay in the midst of something all the time when you keep getting rebuked all the time. I said, do good to, just fall in line. Do what I tell you to do. So I ain't got to keep chastising you by the prophets. I ain't got to keep, you got a job here, 2 months later, you ain't got no job. Kids unruly, you don't know how to do good to yourself. Read on.
My son, according to thy ability, do good to thyself, and give the Lord his due offering. Remember that death will not be long in coming, and that the covenant of the grave is not shewed unto thee.
We live a short amount of time compared to our forefathers. Adam lived 900, I think it was 38 years, somewhere around there. And it went down from there. We live in maybe, I can't even say, maybe 70 if you get lucky. If the Lord is dealing with you, not lucky, dealing. The Lord is dealing with you. You might get 70 years out of your time here on earth. And damn near you'll be decrepit by the time you're 72. A lot of people gone at 50, 52, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, gout, whatever it may be. Time is short on this earth. We don't have enough time here to be bitter and envy. We should enjoy, especially, I heard it earlier when he was teaching. When you're here on the Sabbath day, we should definitely have good memories every single Sabbath day. Shouldn't have the thought in your mind where I'm going to the Sabbath and there's people in my mind that I know I gotta avoid because I'm bearing a grudge against them. you do yourself a disservice. You don't love yourself. Verse 13.
Sirach chapter 14 and verse 13. Do good unto thy friend before thou die, and according to thy ability stretch out thine hand and give to him. Defraud not thyself of the good day, and let not the part of a good desire overpass thee.
Now, that doesn't mean that you go out and you find all manner of sin to get into because you think that's good. Matter of fact, give me that Proverbs 1 and 10. That ain't what the Lord's talking about. You do good unto yourself righteously. That's why he gave you a whole bunch of brothers and sisters in here to go do stuff with. Y'all take that up? Nah, not really. Nah. Nope, not at all. I see y'all Telegram. Most people probably get together as a kids' corner for the monthly teaching lesson plan. That's about it. The rest of y'all don't even take up the Lord on his offer about giving you a bunch of sisters to do some righteous fun with. Instead, you sit at home and talk about it.
Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 10. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and the whole as those that go down into the pit.
So some of y'all might have came in here as stick-up kids and robbers and jack boys and all of that stuff. Soap pounds. You might have came in here as that. That ain't doing good. That's wickedness in the eyes of God. Because you might have got a high off of that. Because that's a lot of times why people do that. They get a high off of that. Let's go rob somebody. Let's plot out how we're going to do this here. We're going to hide behind this. We're going to run up on them at this time. We're going to cut off the lights. And we're going to run in, pull cables, and get everything that niggas got. You get a high off of that violence and criminal life. That ain't what God's talking about. Do good to thyself. Read on.
Verse 13. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot amongst us. Let us all have one purse. My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path.
So that's what God's talking about. Do good. It ain't talking about running with those that are in the midst of evil. Having some good, righteous fun with your sisters he gave you. Go to Sirach chapter 7. Sirach chapter 7, verse 1.
Sirach chapter 7 and verse 1. Do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee.
So, doing no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee. If you love yourself, you'll choose the right people to be around. For some reason, we find out in the world that people who are thieves, they hang with other thieves. Gossipers hang with other gossipers. What happens in here, you find out you're Israel, and you come in here, and you slowly but surely act righteous, but you search out the other sister that's a gossiper too. And you find yourself with them gossiping. Find yourself with them evil surmising. They ain't got no control in their mouth. You with another person ain't got no control in their mouth. How the hell y'all gonna help each other? Who's gonna tell somebody else, don't say that? Shh, be quiet. Put a bar on that mouth, sister. But you gravitate towards people that got the same old man spirit you got, thus destroying yourself. Read verse 1 again.
Sirach chapter 7 and verse 1. Do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee.
Read on.
Depart from the unjust, and iniquity shall turn away from thee. My son, sow not upon the furrows of unrighteousness, and thou shalt not reap them sevenfold.
Jump up to verse 8.
Sirach chapter 7 and verse 8. Bind not one sin upon another, for in one thou shalt not be unpunished.
Thou shalt not be unpunished. Because a lot of us think we're getting away with the stuff that we're in the midst of, but we really not. The Lord is just giving you space and time enough to repent before he laid a hammer down on you. When the hammer comes down on you, you be asking people, oh, pray for me, I'm going through it. Why are you going through it? Oh, the Lord is testing me right now. He's proving me. No, your ass was in the midst of all evil. And he gave you time enough to do it. Now here comes the hammer. That's why you're getting jacked up. Go to Sirach 6:17.
Sirach chapter 6 and verse 17.
Go ahead.
Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright.
If you fear God, you're going to find people that is going to be your friend in this truth. And they're going to do what? Read on.
For as he is, so shall his neighbor be also.
So if you claim to be a righteous sister, a righteous brother, a quiet sister, understanding brother, you're going to find yourself around other understanding brothers, quiet sisters. You're not going to find somebody that's completely opposite of you, or that you want to be. Let me put it like that. And it baffles me too. Remember, I'm talking to this side. 98% of the stuff I'm talking about. New sisters, and I say new, I'm talking about, how long new? A year under. You're new. It baffles me how you would find yourself around other new sisters that don't know no more than you, but you find yourself with them all the time. You don't never gravitate towards none of the senior sisters in here that have been around for some time, that done been corrected with scriptures by their husbands plenty of times, that done heard more classes than you, seen more judgments, seen more people been put out, know what to do, know what not to do. You don't even find yourself in the vicinity of them unless it's a meaningless talk. You find yourself right next to the sister that don't know nothing. How are you growing in the spirit? You're not. You stay stagnant. And then that old man reveals himself. Now you're getting corrected. Now scripture's coming out that praise cutting you left and right. That you examine yourself. Read that again.
Sirach chapter 6 and verse 17. Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright. For as he is, so shall his neighbor be also.
Jump up to verse 14.
Sirach chapter 6 and verse 14. A faithful friend is a strong defense.
Can any brother expound on that? In the vein of what I'm talking about. How is a faithful friend a strong defense? Brother Razis, you had your hand up first.
Basically, it's going into Leviticus 19 and 17. When you rebuke your neighbor, you correct them. When you see them in sin, hey brother, you shouldn't do that.
Exactly right. You see them going off. That faithful friend is going to be a defense for you. Going to stop you before you say something. Say that. An unfaithful friend will let you keep on rambling on and talking just to make meaningless conversation. Thus getting you caught up once it get revealed. Because I want you to understand that. For you new sisters in here, and you new brothers, I hope you do not think that the Spirit of the Lord is not in this place. You don't start off where Bishop Nathaniel and Bishop Kenai was, where it was just they two families in an apartment in New York, to the point where 14 years later, they've got schools all over the world of congregations. They in Jamaica right now prophesying. I hope you don't think that the Spirit of the Lord is not dealing with IUIC. If the Spirit of the Lord is dealing with IUIC, do not think that the Lord is not going to reveal the BS that's still in you. No, 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 no. You are not going to fly under the radar here. No, no, no. The Lord will put you into a situation and you think you're right. But it's truly exposing who you really are. And it can only be hidden for so long before it makes its way up here. And then once it makes its way up here, I'm going to do what the Lord says to do. The Lord says that he loves judgment. He loves all of that. I'm going to bring that thing out. But these scriptures got to come out first. So you can take heed to these scriptures, examine yourself, and hopefully change yourself so you don't be the one falling up under the scripture. Those that sin rebuke before all. Read verse 14 again.
Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 14. A faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that hath found such in one hath found a treasure.
Read on.
Nothing doth contravail a faithful friend, and his excellency is invaluable.
Because they are going to make sure you stay on the straight path. Some of y'all got friends just based on worldly. You got friends based on your old man, your worldly stuff. And not on the righteousness that's supposed to be in you. That's why you don't talk to some of these sisters in here. Because that old man in you don't match up with the righteousness you see in the other sisters. Say like, we ain't got nothing in common. I can't really talk to you. I can't hold a conversation. But you used to talking about nigger though. Read verse 16.
Verse 16. A faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find him.
So if you fear God, you're going to find the righteous person that's going to help your spirit. I know I'm a talker. I say stuff that I shouldn't be saying. I speak about other people's business. I fire off at the mouth a lot of the time, or I evil surmise, I can plot some stuff. I need to get around a sister that I see the qualities in her that I want to be. Same thing for a brother. I need to get around a wife. I want to know these scriptures. Now I need to be around him all the time. Somewhere in the vicinity, I'm listening secretly. He don't know I'm watching, but I'm listening. Then I'm gonna make my way to try to be a friend with him. See if I can get his number, call him up. We go over some scriptures, man. I want to know what he knows. Go ahead, officer.
Hey, I want to bring something real quick. Hey, can you read that again, officer?
Verse 16.
Yes, read that again.
Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 16. A faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find him.
What does it mean to fear the Lord, brothers?
Keep the commandments.
Keep the commandments, right? Watch this. Read it again.
Verse 16. A faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find him.
So only brothers and sisters that keep God's commandments gonna find that faithful friend. If you find yourself friends with a murmurer, a gossiper, are you keeping God's commandments? You gotta reevaluate yourself. And a lot of times we don't know how to keep friends. We don't know how to keep a good friend. Watch this. Get Proverbs 16 and 28 real quick. We don't even know how to keep a good friend. We see a sister correcting us as, oh, she got something against me. That sister don't like me. Watch this. Read that.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 28. A froward man.
What does froward means? And this goes for sisters and brothers. What does froward means? I mean,
Froward is like sinful or wicked.
Means disobedient. Froward is a disobedient woman or man. Read.
Soweth strife.
Soweth strife. Read on. Watch this.
And a whisperer.
And a what?
Whisperer.
What is a whisperer, brothers? Gossiper. And a gossiper. Go ahead.
Separated chief friends.
That's why you ain't got no friends. That's why you say, oh, that sister don't like me. Well, damn, sister, you been gossiping since you got here. Read it again.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 28.
A
froward man soweth strife.
Strife, contention.
and a whisperer separated chief friends.
And if you're a gossiper, the most I said, you ain't gonna have no godly friends. You're gonna have sisters that do nothing but what? Gossip. That's all it is.
Still on the topic of how you love yourself. Love yourself, your friends should be a mirror of how you want to be and how you are. Proverbs chapter 8 and read verse 34. I think I got it.
Proverbs.
No, 32. 32. On down.
Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 32. Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not.
And refuse it. You hear an instruction. We're showing you how to love yourself. We're going to go into the whole facet of Leviticus 19, 17, and 18. But you hear an instruction. God says, be wise. If wisdom is dwelling in you, God says, be wise when you hear this. Don't act like it ain't talking about you.
Right.
That's wise. And it says, refuse it not. Because this stuff, we just read the Bible. We just giving you the understanding of what it means. The Lord speaks through man, through his prophet. Refuse it not. So don't look at us like it's them up there. No. The Lord wants this thing to come out exactly when he wanted to come out. Right now. So don't turn up your nose. We had a class last week. And I wasn't paying attention because I was looking at Elder. But a lot of the scriptures that he brought out, some of the officers up here told me after that you should have seen the sisters' faces when he was bringing out some of them scriptures.
Yep.
He said their face was turned up like, please. Yeah, that sounds good, but do it? I refuse it. God told you, he said, don't refuse it not for this reason. Read on.
Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors.
Read on.
For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul.
You sin against God, you do what?
Wrongeth his own soul.
And what else?
All they that hate me love death.
They what?
Love death.
You don't love yourself. Whatever manner of sin that you are in, because we read Leviticus 19:17. You hate your brother. You're a gossiper. You're a murmurer. You're holding grudges. You in the midst of sin. Because those are thou shalt not. God says, you don't love me. You love death. You don't love yourself. You love death. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. You're still on loving yourself. Start at verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 15. See, I have set before thee this day life and death.
Sorry again.
Life and good. And death and evil. In that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments, and his statutes, and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whether thou goest to possess it.
Jump down to verse 19.
Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you that I have set before you life and death.
Life and death. Read on.
Blessing and cursing.
Those was the commandments he set before us. Read on.
Therefore, choose life.
God says choose life. Read on.
That both thou and thy seed may live. That thou mayest love the Lord thy God, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him. For he is thy life.
He's like, what?
He is thy life.
If you love yourself, you're going to keep God's commandments. Because he's the only reason you got breath in your body. And if your name comes before him, your angel brings your name before him and says they down there in all manner of wickedness, they will refuse to change. All right. Take their life. Give it back to me because it's mine anyway. Where's that precept at? We was talking about it in the car, right? I don't even have this on here, but let's go to it.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15, in verse 8. And employing his laborers, lewdly, he maketh a vain god of the same clay. Even he, which a little before was made of earth himself, and within a little while, after returneth to the same, out of the which he was taken, when his life which was lent him shall be demanded.
It was what?
When his life which was lent him shall be demanded.
Like I said, it's not your life. It's lent to you right now. And if your name goes before the Most High, your angel takes it back, he's going to require what is his. Because you're wasting the breath that he gave you. You're not falling in line with what he told you to do. You're not that son of God. You're not that daughter of Sarah. Take it back from him. Go to Psalms 119, verse 1.
Psalms chapter 119 and verse 1. Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the law of the Lord. Blessed are they that keep his testimonies, and that seek him with the whole heart. They also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways.
So that's how you love the Lord and cleave unto him. You keep his testimonies. You seek him with your whole heart, and you walk in his ways. Not your ways, his ways. Read on.
Verse 4. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep thy statutes. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all thy commandments.
No.
I will praise thee with uprightness of heart when I shall have learned thy righteous judgments. I will keep thy statutes. Oh, forsake me not utterly.
Read on.
Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his ways? By taking heed thereto, according to thy word. With my whole heart have I sought thee. Oh, let me not wander from thy commandment.
And I'm not in each one of you all's minds in here. You have to ask that question for yourself. Have you sought the Lord with your whole heart, meaning your mind? Have you truly tried to apply the scriptures to whatever spirit that you're dealing with? I can't answer that question. I'm not in your mind. I'm not the Most High. I don't know the reins of each man's thoughts. Only he knows that. Read on.
Verse 11. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. Blessed art thou, O Lord. Teach me thy statutes. With my lips have I declared all the judgments of my mouth. Mm-hmm. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies, as much as in all riches. I will meditate in thy precepts, and have respect unto thy ways. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy words.
So what we read of David did was he meditated on the commandments and statutes of God that he loved, and he applied them because he walked in all the ways of the Lord. We read about David messing up one time in the Bible. The other one he was forgiven for. We hear about it one time in the Bible. And he wrote 149 songs asking for forgiveness about that thing. You love yourself, you walk in the ways of God. Not in the ways of the world that they taught you, that you grew, whatever island it might be you grew up on, whatever project you grew up in, you don't walk in those ways. You walk in the ways of the Lord.
That's right.
Go to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2. This is why you walk in those ways. 1 Samuel 2.
1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 3. Talk no more exceeding proudly. Let not arrogance come out of your mouth. For the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed.
Because God is worried about your actions more than what you say. Shalom, Most High in Christ bless. Okay, that's my brother. Where was you at to help your brother when he put on the telegram he needs some help moving? Oh, I got called into work that day. No, you didn't. Oh, I was busy. Doing what? I had to cook for the kids. Negro, you don't cook. Oh, I had to watch the kids. Where's your wife at? She ran to the corner store. Really? God's worried about your actions, not what you say, because that's what's going to be written down in the books, your works. Let's see, where we at? That's loving yourself, right? Go to Jeremiah 13. Jeremiah 13, verse 10 and 11.
Jeremiah chapter 13 and verse 10. This evil people which refuse to hear my word.
God said we evil people. Read on.
Which walk in the imagination of their heart.
The imagination of your own heart will tell you that you are right when you know you're wrong. The imagination of your own heart will tell you that I'm justified in my ways, and I'm going to wait on them to say something to me. That's the imagination of your own heart. God says it's evil. Read on.
And walk after other gods, to serve them and to worship them, shall even be as this girdle, which is good for nothing.
God said you what?
Shall even be as this girdle, which is good for nothing.
God said you good for nothing if you walk in the imagination of your own thoughts. It ain't worth nothing. You know why? Because whatever you are in, miss the sin, you turn down your brothers and sisters around you. You're hindering the kingdom coming. You're good for nothing. Is this what we want God to say about us when the report goes before him? How's he down there doing? I called him about 6 months, 7 months ago. They changed, did he? Lord, they good for nothing. Man. I'm looking, brother, how long was it ago I called him? 2 years ago. Is he putting in any works yet? Nah, Lord, he just goes through the motions. Read verse 11.
Verse 11. For as the girdle cleaveth to the loins of a man, so have I caused to cleave unto me the whole house of Israel and the whole house of Judah, saith the Lord, that they might be unto me for a people, and for a name, and for a praise, and for a glory. But they would not hear.
So that goes back to cleaving to the Lord, but he's your life. Cleave to him. But what happens? We will not hear. We will not hear. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6.
1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 13. Meats for the belly, and the belly for meat. But God shall destroy both it and them. Now the body is not for fornication, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body.
So the body's not for fornication, but the Lord for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. Right? Read on.
Verse 14. And God hath both raised up, the Lord, and will also raise up us by his own power. Know ye not that your bodies are the members of Christ? Shall I then take the members of Christ and make them the members of an harlot? God forbid.
If you love yourself, sisters, brothers, you will honor your body that God gave you, which is really his, and the spirit that's in you. Won't find yourself out here sleeping with no good niggas that don't want nothing from you. Baffles me. How can you, with the understanding we got now, how can you go from here and out there into that world with Negroes that have no intentions to marry you, when God calls you a princess, but you treat yourself like a harlot? It's still keeping old conversations of Negroes in your phone. You ain't supposed to do that. Know ye not that your bodies are the members of Christ? Shall you be found with a harlot, a whorewoman? God forbid. Read on.
What? Know ye not that he which is joined to an harlot is one body? For two, saith he, shall be one flesh.
Read on.
But he that is joined unto the Lord is one spirit. Flee fornication.
Can a brother tell me what's fornication? I want a young brother. I don't want none of you married men to tell me. You already know. You ain't got to worry about that. Give me your shoe and take them out. Up here in the front row, second row. What is it?
Sex outside of marriage.
Sex outside of marriage. Is that it? Does it stop with that? What's the different statutes and judgments of fornication? What are they? Yeah, you.
Worshiping another God.
Doing what?
Worshiping another God.
Sleeping with a what?
Bow down to other gods.
Oh, okay. All right. There's spiritual fornication. All right. Here's one. Let your dog lick you in your mouth.
They don't know about that. Nobody never say that.
Sleeping with animals. Letting your dog hump on your leg. Making love to a turtle. Sex outside of marriage. Sleeping with animals. Sleep with your auntie. With your cousin. With your uncle. Or your sisters. Fornication. Some of y'all might have been touched by your uncle. Fornication. Now you repent. Lord willing. Go to Malachi 2. Malachi 2:15.
Malachi chapter 2 and verse 15. And did not he make one? Yet had he the residue of the Spirit.
And did he not make one? Adam and Eve. Go ahead.
And wherefore one? That he might seek a godly seed.
That's why we read in Corinthians, flee fornication. The body is not for fornication because the reason the Most High gave you what you call the reproductive organs you have in your body as a sister, you as a man, is that you may bring forth another godly seed into this earth. Not so you can step outside the laws of marriage and please the lust thereof. Read it.
Malachi chapter 2 and verse 15. And did not he make one? Yet had he the residue of the Spirit. And wherefore one? That he might seek a godly seed. Therefore, take heed to your spirit.
Take heed to what?
Your spirit.
Take heed to your spirit if you are battling lust.
And let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth.
Deal treacherously against the wife of his youth. I ain't touching it right now. But that script came out for a reason. Go to Sirach 26 and 9. Now all of that godly seed that the Lord is seeking, all of that comes after you proved the brother. You went through talking to each other. You know about them. They know about you. It ain't rushed just so you can have sex. Because after that sex comes lifelong marriage. Coming home to the same person every single day. You better know if you can deal with them for the rest of your life. Because the sex will get old. What's going to keep you together? Sirach 26 and 9.
Sirach chapter 26 and verse 9. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straight.
Read verse 9 again.
Yes, sir.
I know there's a reason I put this one on here.
Sirach chapter 26 and verse 9. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids.
If you love yourself, you're going to cover up. Don't try to bring what you've seen out there in the world in here and call it fashion. Because I've been seeing that in Israel a lot lately. You're trying to walk the fence of what is fashionable of the world and what's in here, and you're calling it righteous. Not at all. What you're really doing is showing the thoughts and the intents that's in your mind to these men over here. And that same one that's battling lust, that's looking for a quickie, one that he know he only got to play that role for about 4-5 months, he gonna find you. Because you don't reveal to him who he was already. Read verse 9 again.
Sirach chapter 26 and verse 9. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids.
Read on.
If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly.
Be shameless means that whoever it is, it don't matter. She find herself laying down with him. He ain't got to have no job. He ain't got to be doing nothing for himself. All he got to be is cute and talk nice on the phone. God says your daughter's shameless. What else he say? Read the next part.
Lest she abuse herself.
She's doing what?
Abuse herself.
You don't love yourself if you find yourself sleeping with ungodly niggas. God says you're abusing yourself. You say, I just got tempted. God says you abuse yourself. Because you're supposed to be a daughter of Sarah. Supposed to be a son of God. But you walk around like harlots, fulfilling the lust thereof. So let's see. Go to 19:21, verse 19. What about the brothers? Same one, 26:19.
Sirach chapter 26 and verse 19. My son, keep the flower of thine age sound, and give not thy strength to strangers.
So you ain't supposed to be sleeping with other nations, is what God's saying. I know you love Becky. She do whatever you want to do. God says no. To hell with Becky. Fu Wong, Fu, Mei-Ling. Read on.
Verse 20. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field.
That fruitful possession is the daughters of Sarah. That's how we are the sand of the sea. That's why the Israelites, or Pua and them, what you call it, midwives said, they not like Egyptian women. They popping out babies left and right before we can even show up. That's the fruitful possession. Read on.
Sow it with thine own seed, trusting in the goodness of thy stock.
Now, if you find that fruitful possession, brothers, and you sow it with your own seed, you better be able to make sure you can live with that fruitful possession for the rest of your life. Don't be in here just trying to find a wife just to fulfill your urges that you got. It's better to marry than to burn. I'm looking for a wife. They got any single sisters in here you think so? Hey, what's the scriptures on marriage, brother? Working on that. Break it down.
Hey, the only scripture they know is let the woman
keep silent.
That's the only scripture they know.
All you wanted to do is cook, clean, be quiet, and do benevolence. What about building that possession up?
Right.
I ain't got there yet. So why you looking for a wife? I'm burning. Sit on down somewhere. Because if you love yourself, you're not going to find you a wicked woman. I'm telling you right now, if you get that feeling, lasts 2, 3, 4 minutes maybe. But if she's a dragon, you be thinking about that all the time. Keep you with the brothers all the time. Fly missions all the time. You married. Why you have so many flies? I'm putting in work for the Lord. Go to Leviticus 19:16. Loving your neighbor as you love yourself.
Leviticus.
Now let's deal with the neighbor. Showed you how to love yourself. Let's deal with the neighbor.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 16.
See if you catch it.
Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people.
Ooh, brothers, can you explain to me what's a talebearer? I want some detail. Don't give me no just the generic. I want some detail. Brother Amir, what's a talebearer? Just speak up. Speak up, says you going around telling stories, exaggerating, making up telling stories, exaggerating,
Like very deep gossip.
things that really ain't there, and you make it more than what it is. Read that again.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 16.
Now we into loving your neighbor. How you love your neighbor? Read on.
Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people. Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord.
I am the Lord. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer. You shouldn't be worried about other people's lives. What they ain't doing. What they are doing. Ain't none of your business. Unless they're in the midst of sin, why are you talking about their life? Matthew chapter 7. We got a definition on talebearer? Let's see. Give me a definition on talebearer. Now we into loving your neighbor. We just dealt with love yourself. Now let's see how you love your neighbor. Let's see what talebearer says, if you can find that definition. Talebearer. What they got it? One that spreads gossip or rumors. Rumors is not really in the, you don't know. Oh, it says tattletale. Rumors. It ain't really true. You don't know if it's true, but you just gonna say it anyway. You're gonna throw it out there in the air and let it manifest whatever it does. Circulator, gossiper, gossip monger, news monger, gossip monger. Man, that's heavy. Quit nunk, gossip, tellteller, telltale. Yenta, related words, betrayer, blabbermouth, informant, informer, snitcher, squealer, stool pigeon, tattler, tattletale, liberaler, scandal monger. Man, I like those. Betrayer. Go to Matthew chapter 7, verse 1.
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 1. Judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye?
Why you find yourself talking about somebody else?
But considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye.
What is another way of saying considerous? Paul says it. Considerous. Soldier Tobias. Oh, there we go. You ain't examined yourself. Read on.
Verse 4. Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye.
Read on.
Thou hypocrite.
Thou what?
Thou hypocrite.
Thou what?
Thou hypocrite.
God said you a hypocrite. Can we get the definition of that? I like looking up words. I meditate on this thing. A person who puts on a false appearance of virtue or religion. Woo!
False appearance of virtue. Wow.
Pretending to be righteous in your head wrapping dress, in your fringes and borders of blue,
And the way you say shalom.
oh, shalom, sissy. That's how they talk on Telegram. Shalom, long. Pull the definition back up. A person who puts on a false appearance. A person who acts in contradiction to his or her stated beliefs or feelings. Read that part again, verse 5. What are they?
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 5. Thou hypocrite.
Thou
hypocrite.
Thou person who acts in a contradiction to his or her stated beliefs. You supposed to be righteous, but you ain't doing it. Walking around a stank face and attitude. Because the Lord said, be joyful. You ain't doing that. Hypocrite. You say you're Israelite. Well, God told the Israelites to love thy neighbor as thyself. You look like you got hatred in your heart. Thou hypocrite.
Can I get a scripture, please? Yeah, go ahead. Hey, let's get what is that? 1 Thessalonians 4:11 real quick. 1 Thessalonians 4:11. Let's read that real quick. 1 Thessalonians 4:11. See this.
1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 11.
Read.
And that ye study to be quiet.
What does God say?
That ye study to be quiet.
Read on.
And to do your own business.
What does that mean? Do your own business. Mind your business. If it ain't got nothing to do with you, don't worry about it. Read on.
And to work with your own hands.
Same thing. Do your own business. Stop meddling in everybody else's business. Do your own business. Watch this. Hold that. Get what is that? Proverbs 18 and verse 8. Because we dealing with how we're supposed to love each other. How am I supposed to treat my fellow sister, my fellow brother, right? Proverbs 18 and 8. Read that.
Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 8. The words of a talebearer.
A talebearer.
Are as wounds.
Are as wounds. So, you know how they say in the world, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words don't hurt me. That's a lie. God says, read it again.
The words of a talebearer.
What's a talebearer, brothers? A gossiper.
Or as...
Hold on. A gossiper. So, sisters, if you gossiping, brothers, if you gossiping, read.
The word, and then go down into the innermost parts of the belly.
So for those who don't know how bad gossiping is, God says they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. They hurt. They hurt. They make it so that you don't never want to talk to that sister again. You come in here, you know how hard it is to come in here and avoid somebody? You know how hard that is? That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. I got to come in and avoid officers of cop all day. That's a lot of work. But we do that. Not even thinking that the Most High eyes is 10,000 times brighter than the sun.
Yep, you see it.
And he see everything.
Yeah,
and he know the intents of the heart. He know why you doing it. You make it fake it to us. But the Most High say, yeah, she doing that because she don't like her. She hate her sister. She doing that because she got pride on her. Hold that. Get Sirach 28:13 real quick.
Sirach chapter 28 and verse 13. Curse the whisperer.
Read it again.
Curse the whisperer.
God says you cursed. Brothers, is anything cursed gonna make it to the kingdom of heaven? No. Read it again.
Sirach chapter 28 and verse 13. Curse the whisperer.
God says curse the whisperer. Hey, you know, my sister looked at me evil today. Oh, hey, sister, how you doing? Hey, you know that sister don't like me, right? Read it again.
Curse the whisperer.
God says you cursed. Read on.
And double tongue.
And double tongue. What does double tongue mean? Amir, what does double tongue mean?
Hypocrite.
Hypocrite. Hey, you my favorite sister. But to this, hey man, you know this. You know she don't like me and my kids, right? You know she's trying to discipline my kids today? You know she told me to get out the road? Hey, sister, hey, what's going on? Read it again.
Curse the whisperer. And double tongue.
Double tongue, read on.
For such have destroyed many that were at peace.
Sister ain't never had a problem till you said something to her. Never had a problem. Now you just disrupted her understanding. Read on.
A backbiting tongue have disquieted many.
What does disquieted mean? Can we look that up, Mariah? It says a backbiting tongue have disquieted many. Let's look that up.
While you're looking for that real quick. In Sirach 19 and 8, this is how you know if you're in the midst of gossip. Because you might not know. You're like, I ain't going to say nothing about nothing no more. I'm just quiet. Saying nothing. This is how you know. Sirach 19 and 8 real quick. Go back to that definition after this. Go ahead.
Sirach chapter 19 and verse 8.
How you know you're gossiping. Read.
Whether it be to friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives. And if thou canst without offense,
Without what?
without offense, reveal them not.
That's how you know you gossiping. If you know that you are talking, verse 7, read verse 7 too.
Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 7. Rehearse not unto another that which is told unto thee, and thou shalt fare never the worse.
Read on.
Whether it be to friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives. And if thou canst without offense, reveal them not.
That's how you know you gossiping. If you having a conversation about another one of your sisters in here, and you know that if they heard you speaking about this matter, they be offended, you gossiping. That's the barometer, so you know, if y'all didn't know. Because y'all young in the spirit, y'all don't know what's what. Hell, half of y'all don't even know. We turn on the music, y'all sit there, look like zombies. But we're going to build y'all up, though. That's how you know you're in the midst of gossiping. If you are having a conversation about another brother or another sister in here, and you know, if they heard these words, they'd be offended. That's gossiping. Because we talk about all of y'all up here. But we'll tell it to you.
That's right.
That's the difference. All right, go ahead, back to the
Hey, I'm glad you brought that out, officer. Read it again. Read that again.
Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 7. Rehearse not unto another that which is told unto thee, and thou shalt fare never the worse.
Like, I'm gonna give you an example. You tell me somebody you interested in, I'm gonna go and tell the same person who's interested in the same brother, hey, you know that sister interested, right? You know she interested in the same brother you interested in. That's evil as hell. That's evil as hell. That's sowing discord. Evil as hell. Gossiping about something that was told to you, and instead of saying, okay, you know what, you told me this, I ain't gonna tell nobody. You go to the same sister who interested in the same brother and tell them that. That's evil as hell. Think you doing right by the Lord. You doing evil. Let's go back. Let's go back to Sirach 28, man. Sirach 28:14.
Sirach, chapter 28 and verse 14.
A
backbiting tongue have disquieted many.
Disquieted. Let's read that. To take away the peace or tranquility of. To disturb. Let's get some more synonyms. To agitate. To alarm. To disturb. Discomfort. What you say that? Derail. To freak. Upset. There we go. To unsettle. I mean, the system was perfectly fine. Until you started backbiting. Until you started gossiping. Until you started talebearing. Just to have peace. What's that? Exercise. Let's go back. Read verse 14 again.
Sirach chapter 28 and verse 14. A backbiting tongue have disquieted many.
Gossipers distress, derail, unsettled, upset, worry. The people they gossiping about. Not even knowing that what you're doing is taking a toll on your fellow sister, your fellow brother. Read on.
Many, and driven them from nation to nation. Strong cities have it pulled down, and overthrown the houses of great men.
And once I say strong cities have been pulled down by gossip. From nation to nation, and overthrown the houses of great men by gossip. Read on.
Verse 15. A backbiting tongue have cast out virtuous women.
Read.
And deprived them of their labor.
Watch this.
Whoso hearkeneth.
Whoso hearken to this gossip.
Unto it shall never find rest.
Never find rest. Because now it's just a circle, just a cycle. Just keep going and going. Next thing you know, it goes this sister, to this sister, to this sister, to this sister, to this sister. Not damn. Everybody got to get rebuked now. That little leaven the whole lump. Read on.
And never dwell quietly. The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh.
We all know what happened to our forefathers in slavery, right? The stroke of the whip. Making marks on the flesh. Read on.
But the stroke of the tongue.
But the stroke of the tongue, gossiping, backbiting, whispering, tail bearing. Read on.
breaketh the bone.
I mean, most I say, your gossiping is worse than somebody hitting you with a whip. You know, hey, I done got beat so many times with a belt. My mom used to tell me up. Imagine a whip on your bare back. And the most I say, gossiping is worse than that. Well, nobody in here physically take a whip and whoop your brother on your back, your sister on your back, but we're gossiping. Not knowing that it's the same thing in the eyes of God. Read on.
Verse 18. Many have fallen by the edge of the sword.
You look in history and find that out. Thousands, millions, and millions have fallen by war, sword. Read on.
But not so many as have fallen by the tongue.
So the most I say, more people have died by the tongue than by the edge of the sword. When you look at history, you look at the death counts of wars. Millions. Millions. People were killed, wiped off the face of the earth by wars, by the sword. But God says that, but not so many has fallen by the tongue. Right.
What you say about my mama?
Right, and boom, you're dead. Kill your whole family. Watch this. Get Proverbs 8. Oh, we already read that. Get Proverbs 16 and 28 real quick. Another. We're gonna read that again.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 28. A froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends.
Read on.
A violent man enticeth his neighbor.
A violent man or sister enticeth his neighbor. Read on.
And leadeth him into the way that is not good.
What is the way that's not good? Sin. So I mean, guess what? I'm going to entice this brother to do what with me? Gossip. Brother, let's gossip together. I'm going to entice this sister to gossip with me, knowing that it's evil in the eyes of God. Read on.
Verse 30. He shutteth his eyes toward the wise froward things, moving his lips, he bringeth evil to pass.
Read on.
The hoary head is a
hold
crown.
on. Verse 30 again.
Verse 30. He shutteth his eyes to devise forward things. Moving his lips, he bringeth evil to pass.
Moving his lips, he bring evil to pass. Gossip is evil. Gossip is evil in the eyes of God. But watch this though, because I see a lot of faces over here screwed up right now. Get Sirach 13:25. Read that.
Sirach chapter 13 and verse 25. The heart of a man changeth his countenance.
God said the heart of a man. Read it again.
The heart of a man changeth his countenance. Whether it be for good or evil.
So a lot of y'all don't understand that when your countenance change, something going on. That mind of yours, something is going on. Whether it be for good or bad. Something is going on in that mind. But watch this though, because it's not our words, right? This is what we're trying to tell y'all, man. Give Sirach 12 and 6. Read that.
Sirach chapter 12 and verse 6. For the Most High hateth sinners.
So don't be mad at us. God says he hate what?
For the Most High hateth sinners.
Read it again, please.
For the Most High hateth sinners.
Read it again, please.
For the Most High hateth sinners.
We got to get this in our minds. We got to lock that into our brains. The Most High say he hates sinners. Sin is gossiping. Sin is murmuring. Sin is stealing. Sin is breaking the Sabbath. The Most High say he hate that thing. So it ain't us. Don't be mad at us. Be mad at God. Read it again.
For the Most High hateth sinners. And will repay vengeance unto the ungodly.
Like Officer brought out earlier, you be like, man, I'm going through it. The Most High tested me. Nah, he paying you back for that gossip you done did. He paying you back for that discord you done sold. How the hell you say you an aged woman? You been in here for 5 years still sowing discord. And wondering why your house can't get in order. Read it again.
Sirach chapter 12 and verse 6. For the Most High hateth sinners.
Hateth sinners.
And will repay vengeance unto the ungodly. And keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment.
So the Most High say he hates sinners, man. Read on.
Give unto the good and help not the sinner.
That's going to something else. But read verse 6 again, one more time.
Sirach chapter 12 and verse 6.
Come on.
For the Most High hateth sinners.
The Most High say he hates sinners, brothers and sisters. So I mean, like Officer brought out earlier, what type of man are we to be? What type of sister ought we to be? Because the Most High say he hate murmurs, he hate gospels, he hate talebearers. So we got to get right. Because the time is short. The time is short.
I want to get a scripture.
Go ahead.
Back to Sirach 18 and 25. All right. Because you know me, I like to pull out some solutions to solve it. If we're in the midst of sin and one of those problems we have, right, is gossiping, well, the Most High gave us a solution on how to deal with it. Sirach 20 and 25.
Sirach chapter 28 and verse 25. And weigh thy words in a balance, and make a door and a bar for thy mouth.
So God is telling you right there, if that's something you battle with, it says make a bar for your mouth. Make a door and a bar for thy mouth. Be careful what comes out of your mouth. Read.
Beware thou slide not by it.
Beware that you don't slide by it, fall by it. All right, because that's what happens. We read over and over where your mouth gets you in trouble. It says put a bar at that mouth. That's it. Come on.
Lest thou fall before him that lieth in wait.
Lieth in wait. Who is the one that's lying in wait for you? The Most High. He sent the person who he sent his angel right by you, waiting. Oh, you know what? I'm tired of this person's mouth. Time to send that death angel. Send him up.
Hey, I'm I ain't gonna say piggyback. I'm gonna lay him back on what you just said. Get Sirach chapter 5 verse 12 real quick. Get Sirach 5 and 12. I'm gonna lay him back. Sirach 5 and 12. Read that.
Sirach chapter 5 and verse 12. If thou hast understanding.
The key word is if. Because everybody ain't got understanding. The key word is if. Read on.
If thou hast understanding. Answer thy neighbor.
So if somebody come to you with a problem or a question, if you got understanding, answer that sister, answer that brother according to God's words. Read on.
If not,
if you ain't got the understanding, read on.
Lay thy hand upon thy mouth.
Lay your hand over your mouth.
I'm glad you brought that out.
Speak.
Because a lot of times, brothers and sisters don't actually know the answer to give to the brother and sister around them. So you go into your own emotions and own understanding and give them the worst counsel possible. And they bring it here, like, who told you that? Oh, such and such. What? Obviously, you didn't have understanding, but you went into your own emotions. Now, like I said, label this part of it, hatred and forgiveness. Go to Sirach 28. 28 and 3. This is loving your neighbor as you love yourself.
Sirach, in verse 3. One man beareth hatred against another, and doth he seek pardon from the Lord?
One man holds on to a grudge onto another, but you ask the Lord to forgive you for your sins in your prayer. Read that thing again.
Sirach chapter 28 and verse 3. One man beareth hatred against another, and doth he seek pardon from the Lord?
God is asking, like, why would you dare even ask me to forgive you of anything? Read on.
He sheweth no mercy to a man.
A lot of us in here are just unmerciful towards each other. Knowing daggone well, everybody in here is battling, trying to come up out of that sin and put that old man to death. But when that old man pops up in your sister, you just unmerciful towards. I can't, nope. They offended me. I'm offended. I'm out. Where's the mercy at? Show no mercy to a man. Read on.
He sheweth no mercy to a man, which is like himself. And doth he ask forgiveness of his own sins?
God, how can you even dare to open your mouth to ask for forgiveness? You got hatred and no mercy in your heart, your mind, asking me to forgive you. Read on.
Verse 5. If he that is but flesh nourish hatred.
Nourish hatred.
Who will entreat for pardon of his sin?
That thing said nourish hatred. That means you hold on to it and you feed it. You hold on to it, you feed that thing until it grows and it shows itself in your actions. And you think you are actually, it's so obvious to everybody around here.
Also, remember we were talking about, you know how much energy it takes to have that?
Yeah.
To hold on to a grudge, to have hatred carried over and over.
You get more energy when you are in a good mood and you're happy.
Right.
You ever find yourself, you just tired for no reason? Like, dang, what's going on with me? It's some stuff ain't right in your life. You mulling over some people that you don't like. You always, for some reason, you be sitting down watching TV and the thought pop in your head of who you got a grudge over because you're nourishing and you're feeding it. It's time for it to eat. Boom, the thought pop in your head and you feed that thought. Read that part again. If he that nourish hatred.
Sirach chapter 28 and verse 5.
I want you to understand. Go ahead, read that.
If he that is but flesh nourish hatred, who will entreat for pardon of his sins?
Wait a minute. Time out. I want you to understand this. Who is supposed to be the mediator between man and God? Christ. God is telling you, if you got hatred in your heart, you think Jesus is going to God on your behalf? No. Hell no.
Hey, the Most High's like, who gonna do this?
Who gonna do it? Who gonna stand in the way? Who gonna keep me from killing you? Because my son ain't came up here and said nothing because you're nourishing hatred. He ain't speaking to me on your behalf. Who gonna help you?
That's a rhetorical question.
Nobody. Man, that's heavy. Y'all better take heed to what you're hearing, because Christ ain't even going before the Father on your behalf. Anything liable to happen to you at any moment. Read verse 6.
Remember thy end, and let enmity cease.
Hatred cease. Remember your end and let hatred cease. Read on.
Remember, corruption and death
is coming for you too.
And abide in the commandments. Remember the commandments, and bear no malice to thy neighbor.
Bear no hatred towards thy neighbor. Read on.
Remember the covenant of the highest.
That's death. It's coming for all of us. Read on.
And wink at ignorance.
And do what?
And wink at ignorance.
I've been around here a little longer than them that just got here. I know they don't know. I forgive you. I've been around here a little long. I know you're still working on yourself. You only been in the truth 6 months. I know that some old man gonna pop up and you're gonna say some things that you don't know how to handle right now. You're gonna do some things you don't know how to quite control. I wink at that. Too many times we find ourselves somebody do something against us and we zone in and hone in on that thing. That's all we talk about. They did this. They did that. Can you forgive them?
Hey, you
no, don't nobody do that to me.
And a lot of times even that be correction. Oh, she corrected me. I've been here longer than her. I'm older than you. How you gonna correct me? So now they got a grudge now because you corrected me.
God said wink at that thing. Read verse 8.
Abstain from strife, and thou shalt diminish thy sins. For a furious man will kindle strife.
Read the next verse.
A sinful man disquieted friends.
What?
A sinful man disquieted friends.
A sinful man will disquiet friends. You better remember, you gonna perish too. You working on yourself just like they are. Bear not hatred towards thy neighbor. Go to Sirach chapter 10, verse 6. Sirach 10 and 6. Loving your neighbor.
Sirach.
Hatred and forgiveness.
Chapter 10 and verse 6. Bear not hatred to thy neighbor for every wrong.
For what?
For every wrong.
We look for the smallest things in somebody to get offended by. The smallest things. Oh, they said it to me wrong. Man, wink at that, man. The old man popped up. Did you say something to him? just be merciful with them. Be patient, man. They're not like it all the time, are they? No, but that one time. God says, bear not hatred to thy neighbor for every single wrong. Read on.
And do nothing at all by injurious practices.
Go to Sirach 19:16. This is why he said that. 19:16.
Sirach chapter 19 and verse 16. There is one that slippeth in his speech.
That's why God says, bear not hatred for every wrong. Sometimes we slip up. The old man come back because we ain't truly put him to death. So wink at that ignorance if one slips up in his speech. Go ahead.
There is one that slippeth in his speech, but not from his heart.
Truly didn't mean it. Read on.
And who is he that have not offended with his tongue?
He's asking you, and you've done it before too. Now you want to hold on to hatred and nourish it? No, don't come to me with asking for forgiveness, because you're a hypocrite. Read Galatians 5:16.
Galatians chapter 5 and verse 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
It says, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Go to 1 Corinthians 15 and 50. I'm going to show you why Paul said you better walk in the spirit and not the flesh. And then we're going to come back to this and get some of this stuff that's of the flesh. Read that, 1 Corinthians 15 and 50. Hold your finger because we're coming right back.
1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God.
What?
Cannot inherit the kingdom of God.
Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. Your sinful ways and that old man cannot inherit the kingdom of God. That's what it's talking about, flesh and blood. The sin that's in you. Go back to Galatians 5 and 16.
Galatians chapter 5 and verse 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
You better walk in the spirit because you can't enter the kingdom of God in your own ways. Stop using these excuses. This is how we was raised on the islands. This is how we was raised as Judah. No. That's how African Americans was raised.
Right.
Jamaicans, Haitians. Not Israelites. Because that excuse ain't going to work before God.
Hey, one thing, I'm going to be serious, one thing.
And all this, before you said all this that you got in here, y'all done took this damn tribe stuff to a whole nother level of ignorance. Stop getting caught up in your worldly flesh. Oh, Benjamin, Levi, oh, that's Levi, oh, that's Judah. Oh, that's Ephraim. Oh, no, Levi, don't do that. You done took it to the point now to where now you got envy and strife amongst each other. Because I'm from the tribe of Benjamin. We do this. I'm from the tribe of Levi. We stick together. Whatever that, what you know, daddy old stuff y'all be talking about. It's a bastard tongue. Don't take no pride in that. That's the language of your oppressor. Go ahead.
Nah, you know when people say, oh, that's how he is, Benjamin. What y'all was Paul from?
Bring it out.
Paul did not like that.
Sure the hell didn't.
Oh, I'm from, that's how Levi get down. What y'all was Moses from?
Levi.
Moses did not like that. Letting you know that.
Oh, I'm from the tribe of Judah. What tribe was Christ from?
Judah.
He didn't act like that.
Let you know what you learned is from your oppressors.
So you keep on saying that, go get you put to death.
Yep.
You ain't getting into the kingdom. Wasting your time in here. Say that until Christ comes back, like he said in Luke 21. Every eye shall see. You still saying on the Sabbath day. That's how Benjamin is. Christ gonna come back and say, I never knew you. Depart from me. You lived your life like a Jamaican. Talk to your brothers and sisters like that. And you talk to your brothers and sisters like an African American. With no kindness in your tongue.
Right. And you got to be mindful because our foreparents, that was the same sin they was in. with those same names, Benjamin, Levi, there was idolizing, having hatred one to another.
Yep.
And guess what God did? You know
Kill
what?
all.
Give me my name back. I'm not going to call you Benjamin, Judah. I'm going to send you to slavery, and I'm going to call you by another name. So be mindful when you do that. When you're trying to link worldly stuff with the righteous names of God.
Right.
You got to be very mindful not to do that.
Right.
Hey, also, we thinking that the Most High gonna redeem us because of us being Israelites. No. He redeemed us for His name.
Yeah.
Not Benjamin, Levi, Gad, Manasseh. No, He said, I'm doing this for my
For
name's
my
sake.
name. Because y'all ain't going to make me look bad. And it's going to be certain ones of them that know who I am going to get themselves in line. And I'm going to take them back and give them my name again. The other ones, 2/3 of them, put them to death. He told Moses, move out the way. I'll start over with you. Moses was one man. We came out of Egypt as the number of the sands of the sea, an innumerable multitude. And he told Moses, move, that I may consume them. I'll start over with you again. Let you know, he don't need none of us in here. Not what? Don't. Yeah, you special in the eyes world, in the world eye. What are you gonna say? Eyes of the world. But the Most High will wipe you out the way and start over again.
Right, He
Did it before. Wiped out everybody and started over with 8 people. So we're really insignificant in the whole scope of Israel. You better examine yourself. Verse 17.
Galatians chapter 5 and verse 17. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the spirit, ye are not under the law.
Under the law meaning the animal sacrifice, because you're doing everything that's in the commandments already. Read on.
Now the works of the flesh are manifest.
Now we just read, flesh and blood cannot enter the kingdom. So examining yourself, considerest thou, like Christ said, if any of these are in you right now, you better check yourself. Read verse 19.
Galatians chapter 5 and verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery.
It might not be physical, but it might be in your mind. Every time you see a woman walk by, you watching the way that she's switching that dress. Out the corner of your eye, you cut. I see brothers around here. Can't get into the kingdom like that. Read on.
Fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred.
What is it?
Hatred.
Oh, if that's in your flesh, you better check it. Better make amends with your brothers and sisters that's in here. Read on.
Variance.
Variance is always at odds. That's that. If you walking around here trying to avoid somebody not speaking, you got variance in your flesh. At odds with somebody. Read on.
Emulations, wrath, strife, sedition, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like.
Anything else, if I didn't mention it, if it's in your spirit and it ain't of God, read on.
Of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past.
In 1 Corinthians 6 and 9, 1 Corinthians 15, read on.
That they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
You are wasting your time, lying to yourself, thinking you're going to nourish that hatred that's in you, and God's going to give you eternal life. So you can walk around the kingdom hating your brothers, hating your sisters forever. No. Read on.
Verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit.
The actions of the Spirit. If you're in the Spirit of God, the actions actions that come forth are what?
Is love.
Is what?
Love.
Is what?
Love.
You love your neighbor as you love yourself. Read on.
Joy.
Is what?
Joy.
If you ain't happy to be here, the Spirit of God ain't in you.
Right.
Read on.
Love. Joy. Peace. Long suffering.
Hold on. I don't want to skip that part. What came right after joy that should be in your spirit?
Peace.
Peace.
Shalom. Hey, we say shalom every Saturday.
That's peace, right?
That means peace. Peace unto you.
Okay. Read on. I want you to remember that word peace. Read on.
Peace. Long suffering. Gentleness.
Yeah, like I said, I told you, some of y'all just mean. You ain't long suffering. You're just mean. Read on.
Gentleness. Goodness.
Uh-huh.
Faith. Meekness. Temperance. Against such there is no law.
There's nothing wrong with the fruits of the Spirit. Read on.
And they that are Christ.
If you say that Jesus Christ has called me into this truth and have saved me from my sin, my past life when I was going down the wrong road. Read on.
And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts.
That means that none of those things should be found in you. If you say you believe in Jesus the Christ, the black Messiah, you should have all these things in you and none of the other things. And if the other things pop up in you, you quickly cast it down. Read on.
If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another.
Oh, let us not be desirous of vain glory. Vain glory. I want to sit up here. Vain glory. I want to sit back here. Oh, I want to sit on this side. Because we had that here. I want to sit right here.
Hey, you know what's so deadly about vainglory? You don't even realize that you're doing it.
Yep.
You don't even realize that's what you desire.
And what else is that vain glory? What comes after it? Provoking one another. Is that provoking one another to good works? No. You provoking somebody to bring out the old man that's in them. Pushing their buttons. When we're supposed to have joy and peace. But you provoking them, trying to bring the old man up.
I'm going to bring these sisters up.
So you can justify what you want. Your evil demise and plan.
I'm going to break these sisters up. That's my plan.
Envying one another. Go to James chapter 3. James 3, and I think it's 13 I want.
James chapter 3 and verse 13. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him shew out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom.
So you're supposed to show out of your conversation, meaning conduct. Right? Verse 14.
But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth.
It says, but if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, your mind, glory not, and lie not against the truth. How can somebody be in the midst of bitter envying and have strife, but they still lying against the truth? Obadiah, right behind you.
Leviticus 19, verse 17. Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Okay, so how can you be lying against the truth then?
Because he said you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself, but you hate your neighbor.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Because you lie against the truth, come and say, I'm an Israelite. Look at my fringes. Look at my head wrap. I keep the Sabbath. God says you're a liar. You don't keep none of my commandments because you're full of bitter envying and strife in your heart. Glory not. Don't walk around being proud saying you're an Israelite. You're lying on me. Read verse 15.
James chapter 3 and verse 15. This wisdom descendeth not from above.
You didn't get that from God. You didn't get that from Christ with that stuff in you, because they didn't walk around like that. Read on.
But it's earthly,
sensual,
and devilish.
It's what?
Devilish.
It's what?
Devilish.
You got the daggone devil on you.
That's right.
Thus saith the Lord. I'm just reading the Bible. So you got the devil on you. And you don't even know it. You take him captive at his will. Because it didn't come from, ain't nobody in heaven bitter. Ain't nobody in heaven envying each other. Ain't no strife going on between the angels and the Most High. So where'd you get it from? You got it from the devil. Satan on you. Verse 16.
Verse 16. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work.
It's some evilness going on. Every evil work imaginable is up in that thing. And that's all a part of Satan being on you. All of that stuff that we just read in 14 is going on over here. Sisters, y'all got the devil on y'all. Don't know who you are? Well, I know who some of y'all are. I'll tell you. Got the devil on you. You better repent. Because it's bitter, envy, and strife going on right here on this side. And if it's over here, I'll find it out. Then it'll be y'all weak. But like I said, 98% of these scriptures for y'all today. Verse 17.
Verse 17. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure.
The Spirit of God is dwelling in you. That was it's first. It's pure, undefiled. Nothing wrong with it. Read on.
Then peaceable.
It's what?
Peaceable.
Peaceable. Peace. Peace. All right, go ahead.
Gentle.
It's what?
Gentle.
Some of y'all just straight up rough. Just talk to people crazy. And think people are supposed to accept you that way. No, not at all. Read on.
And easy to be entreated.
It's easy to talk to you if the wisdom of God is dealing with you. So if I got a problem with you, I come to you. Because the Spirit of the Lord is on you. So I already know I can, if something's going on between me, I can come to you because the wisdom that is in you is easily entreated. I know I can talk to you about anything. If it's hard for me to come to you about something, you got the devil on you. It's earthly and sensual and devilish. Something ain't right. Read on.
Full of mercy.
It's what?
Full of mercy.
Read on.
And good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace.
Go to Luke chapter 17. I want to start at verse 1.
Luke chapter 17 and verse 1. Then said he unto the disciples, it is impossible, but that offenses will come. But woe unto him through whom they come.
So those offenses are going to come. Some people that we ain't all on the same level spiritually and understand it. So offenses are going to happen between brothers and sisters. It'll happen. But how do you handle it? Read on.
Verse 2. It were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and he cast into the sea, than that he should offend one of these little ones. Take heed to yourself.
Examine yourself. Considerest thou. Read on.
If thy brother trespass against thee, rebuke him. And if he repent, forgive him.
Read on.
And if he trespass against thee 7 times in a day, and 7 times in a day turn again to thee, saying, I repent, thou shalt forgive him.
Christ said what? Read it again.
And if he trespass against thee 7 times in a day, and 7 times in a day turn again to thee, saying, I repent, thou shalt forgive him.
Thou shalt forgive him. That's a commandment, right? But what if they're young in the spirit and they don't quite know how to come to you to seek out that forgiveness? What should you do if the wisdom of God is dwelling in you? What if that happen? Because it could be the case in here. Like I said, we're not all on the same spiritual understanding level right now. Matthew 5, and I want to read verse 7 through 9.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 7. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God.
So if you're in a situation where you've been offended, trespassed against, God said, blessed are those that are the peacemakers. Okay, they was wrong in how they did me, but you know what? The wisdom of God is first peaceable. Easily being treated, I'm going to seek out them to make peace between us. I'm not going to sit and wait on them to come to me. I might not live long enough for that to happen. I'm not going to bear this grudge in me for weeks and for months. I don't know when God's going to call me, so I want to be blameless before the Lord. So God said, blessed are the peacemakers. I'm going to seek out peace between my brothers and sisters. Matthew chapter 18, verse 21.
Matthew chapter 18 and verse 21. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? Jesus saith unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7.
70 times 7. That's just a number thrown on that. A whole lot forgive your brother for the trespasses, Peter. Because there's going to come a time and age when they come up out of captivity and that old man is going to be hard to put to death in the land of Babylon, because Babylon continually feeds it. But forgive them 70 times 7. Read on.
Verse 23. Therefore,
speed it up, go ahead.
Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife and children, and all that he had in payment to be made. The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Then the Lord of that servant was moved with compassion, and loosed him, and forgave him the debt. But the same servant went out, and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence, and he laid hands on him, and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me that thou owest.
So we're reading about a man that was unmerciful when he was forgiven, but can't show the mercy towards anybody else. Read on.
Verse 29. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet, and besought him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison, till he should pay the debt. So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told unto their Lord all that was done. Then his Lord, after that he had called him, said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt, because thou desirest me. Shouldest not thou also have compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee?
No.
And his Lord was wroth, and delivered him to the tormentors, till he should pay all that was due unto him. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, if you from your heart forgive not every one his brother their trespasses.
You're going to be in that same situation of delivered to the tormentors, destruction. If you forgive not from your heart, meaning your mind, if you continue to hold on and bear grudges. Because that's where it starts, in the mind. If you nourish that hatred and bear grudges, you are going to be the ones that are tormented. God's going to be angry with you. Sirach 28:2. That's how important forgiveness and mercy is. You got eternal life at stake right here. If you believe in this Bible, if you don't think it's just words, it's printed up in some a printing press in some building, these be the words of Christ and God, true, coming to pass, you put these things to effect. Apply them. Sirach 28:2.
Sirach chapter 28 and verse 2. Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee.
Do what?
Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee.
Be a peacemaker and go seek out the peace from your neighbor. Forgive them for the hurt that they done to you. Read on.
So shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest.
We just read that in Matthew, in Luke, right? Or Matthew 18. Go to Colossians 3:12.
Colossians chapter 3 and verse 12.
Read on.
Put on therefore as the elect of God, holy and beloved.
All right, hold on. Put on what?
Put on therefore as the elect of God.
As the chosen of God. Read on.
Holy and beloved. Bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another, and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any.
Forbearing one another. We got to be with each other until Christ comes back. So we got to deal with each other, but let it be in peace. Read on.
And forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any.
If any man got something against somebody else, forgive each other. Read on.
Even as Christ forgave you.
As what?
Even as Christ forgave you.
Didn't we do some foul and disgusting things against Christ? We've turned our back on God before. We promised we wasn't going to do this, but we did. Christ died for us. We walked around thinking he was a white man, telling us that he loved everybody. And the moment that we said, Lord, forgive me, I know I'm Israel now. Forgiveness, right there. But we can't put on the bowels of mercy for each other. We can't see the kingdom of heaven like that. Verse 14 and 15. Go ahead.
So also do ye, and above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness.
Read on.
And let not the peace of God rule in your hearts. And let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body.
In one body. Go to Philippians chapter 2.
And be ye thankful.
Philippians 2 verse 1.
Philippians chapter 2 and verse 1. If there be therefore any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercy.
If any of this stuff is in you, read on.
Verse 2. Fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind. Let each esteem other better than themselves.
Some of us in here got self-ego. It ain't pride, but pride is here. You got too much ego. How can they do this to me? How can they say this to me?
Check it out.
You got too much ego. No humbleness in you. Read verse 4.
Philippians chapter 2 and verse 4. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others.
Meaning you care for them as much as you care for yourself. Read on.
Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus.
Let this mind, Christ, he didn't seek vainglory. He was of one accord with his Father and the disciples. He was lowliness of mind. He esteemed every man better than himself, to the point where he gave up his life. Go to verse 14 and 15.
Philippians chapter 2 and verse 14. Do all things without murmuring and disputing, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without.
Go ahead.
Without rebuke.
Now, some of y'all in here, when it's strife and quarrel between sister, brother, you ain't blameless. You had something to do with what came to pass. But now something happens It ain't my fault. You got blame to do with it too. So seek after peace and examine yourself and correct the matter. Go ahead, go ahead.
Verse 15, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world.
So amongst this crooked and perverse nation that we're in, it should be perfect harmony and unity amongst us as Israel. Like I mentioned earlier, we got all the odds stacked against us. Everybody in your family waiting on you to fall to come back so they can laugh at you, talk behind your back. The white man wants nothing for you. He does not want you at all to go above him. Be one nation. He'd rather keep you niggas and spits. That's why when Kendrick Lamar come out, I'm an Israelite, all kind of commentary about that brother. He's crazy. He went off. I don't believe with none of that. He's depressed. You battle spiritual wickedness in high places to the point where they keep on making, what's that series that come out on CNN right now? Does any brother know what it is? It's called Finding Jesus. Damn. They've been looking for him forever. Well, he died in Jerusalem. He's gone back. But that's to keep that flood going. Where your people watch it, and in their mind, they deceive. Jesus was a white man. All of them are stacked against us. Now remember, I said about peace. Go back to James 3. James 3, I want to read verse 13.
James chapter 3 and verse 13. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him shew out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom.
Now read verse 16.
Verse 16. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work.
Right? Go to Hebrews 12, verse 14.
Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 14. Follow peace with all men.
God said do what?
Follow peace with all men.
Follow peace with all men. Read on.
And holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord.
If you ain't got peace with your neighbors in here, you ain't seeing Christ. If you don't have peace with your neighbor, you shall not see the Lord. Read on.
Verse 15. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness.
If you ain't got peace with your neighbor, what happens from that is the root of bitterness pops up in you. Read on.
Lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled.
And read the next verse and see what he compares you to.
Verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau.
Just like Esau, he compares you to.
Maybe that'll bring it home to you. When you do those things, you're acting like Esau.
You're acting like your oppressor.
And man, what is the end result for Esau, the nation of Esau?
Yeah.
So basically, when we read this scripture, those same people who have those attributes of that wicked nation who's destined to be destroyed, he said, listen, you're going to be right next to him.
Right next to
feeling
him.
the same wrath.
Damn. No peace. Romans 12 and 9.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 9. Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil. Cleave to that which is good. Be kindly affectionate one to another.
You know, kindly affectionate goes more than just shalom and the holy kiss that y'all give each other. It's in your actions. How you talk to each other. Well, you know what? I don't really know her. I see her sitting by her, over here by herself. I'm going to go talk to her. That don't mean you got to be best friends, but I need to know her. I'm up here with her every single week. I can't believe I've been here for 6 months and I ain't never spoke to you. Sister, I had the devil on me. I was caught up in my old ways, thinking I was right. You didn't speak to me, so I didn't speak to you. I stayed to myself. That ain't of God. So what's your name? I ain't saying you got to be best friends. But if they're your brothers and sisters like you say they are, you should at least know their name, something about them. That way we got more unity amongst each other and we can do anything. Read verse 9 again.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 9. Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil.
Dissimulate. Give me that definition. Let love be without dissimulation. Because I see a lot of times, brothers, you know, few and far in between. We say, love you, bro. You know, it's few and far in between, brothers. But I love my brothers. Definitely love my brothers. But you sisters throw that thing out there on Telegram every other word. Oh, I love you, sisters. Well, let's see what it means. Let love be without dissimulation. To hide under a false appearance. Hypocrite. Hey, a lot of these definitions we looked up done went back to being fake. And I know that you sisters dealt with a lot of women in the world that y'all said that they just fake.
A lot of sisters in the world, that's what they say, I don't have female friends.
Female friends. Most of my friends are guy friends. Why? Females be fake. Mm-hmm. So if you come in here, your sisters in here should be the complete opposite of that.
Right.
Hey, should be.
Oh yeah, what we looking at? Synonyms? Ah, okay. Related words. Act, impersonate. Oh, you putting on you acted righteous. Masquerade. That face is fake. Shalom. Play act, pose, affect, assume, counterfeit, fake, feign, profess, put on, sham. And guess what? It's more than you just being fake and dissimulating with you're fake in the eyes of God. That's the worst part about it. Disguise, mask, bluff. Let love be without dissimulation. Jump down to verse 16, Romans 12.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 16. Be of the same mind, one toward another.
Why should you be of the same mind? Because we all got one common goal in here, right? We all want to serve God in truth and in spirit and get the kingdom of heaven. If that's the case, we should all be on one accord, one mind. If issues pop up between each other, I'm going to handle it. I'm going to take care of it. It should be that instance when you see in some movies where they be mad at each other and then they walk out the door. You ain't knock on the door. They walk it out the door. Oh, well, I was just about to come to apologize. No, I was going to come apologize to you. You don't see that. I was making my way to you because I was trying to be a peacemaker. Me too, sister. Oh, I'm so sorry. Forgive me, please. Don't see that because you ain't of one mind. Read on.
Be of the same mind, one toward another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceit.
You wise in your own conceit because you think you're right, nourishing hatred. Instead of making amends, you hold on to a grudge. You wise in your own mind. God said you foolish. Read on.
Verse 17. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men.
Read the next verse.
If it be possible, as much as life in you.
If it's any way possible. If they here right now. Read on.
Live peaceably with all men.
Go make peace. So God can call you blessed. Go make peace with your neighbor so God can call you blessed. Go to, let's see here, 1 John 3 and 18.
Hey, you know what, officer? Sisters and brothers think that they got all the time in the world.
That's what it is.
To make peace. When we leave here, ain't no guarantee we gonna see each other again.
No, not at all.
Ain't no guarantee. So before we leave here, we should be, man, this is on my mind, man. Let me talk to you, man.
You know what? Because anything can happen. I can go out here on 95 and end up in a daggone ditch.
Absolutely.
My face through the mirror, the windshield.
We don't think that's a reality.
And I'm not going to go back to the Most High knowing that me and you got problems between each other. I'm not going to do it. We got to end this here right now before we leave. Thus saith the Lord. 1 John 3 and 18.
1 John chapter 3 and verse 18. My little children, let us not love in the word.
Don't just say I love you. Oh, I love you, brother. Oh, I love you, sister. I love all my sisters. Read.
My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed.
In deed, in your actions,
and in truth.
You know what? In order to truly love somebody in your actions and truly love them, you got to know them. You got to know them. You can't, I love you. Well, what's their favorite color? Where do you live at? Somewhere in North Miami. How many kids they got? I don't know who's her kids running around here. Where brother work at? I don't know, man. What's his name? Oh, I forgot. You fake. That's dissimulation. That's fake. I hope y'all examining yourself against these scriptures. Lining up precept upon precept. Go ahead.
All right. Matthew 5 and 23. Matthew 5:23 down to 24. Go down to 25 too. Because even in your prayer, your prayers will be hindered if you still have animosity towards your brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Watch. Let's read.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 23. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother have aught against thee.
Aught means you have a beef force or offense with thy brother. Right. Come on.
Leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother.
First be what?
Reconciled to thy brother.
That means that unity, that bond that y'all have, God says, be reconciled to thy brother.
I ain't gonna throw your thought, but we read those precepts earlier where it said, you got that hatred. Who shall go to the Most High for you? You still got something against your brother.
Right.
Christ said, you better take care of that first before you tell me to go to the Most High before you.
Right.
Go ahead.
Read.
And then come and offer thy gift.
And then come and offer thy gift. Even when you're going into sending up your prayers, God is not hearing you if you still have hatred in your heart for your brother or your sister. He's not hearing it. It's not coming up. All right? Sin is basically blocking you from receiving your prayers of going up to the Most High God.
That's heavy.
So write that in your notes.
And that brother and sister that's right here.
Hold on, read on.
Go ahead. Verse 25. Agree with thine adversary quickly.
That person which we call our enemy. Person, your brother or sister do we have a spat with. It says agree with them. So if you have a discussion with them and you have a disagreement, hey, it's better to just kill it. You know what? You're right. You got this one. I'll take the L. All right. You know what? You're right. Let's agree. Read.
Whiles that are in the way with him, lest at any time that adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison.
So right now, you have the judges before you.
And who's the ultimate judge before you go before?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. All right.
That's heavy right there. Christ said, you better make amends and be reconciled with your brother who's right here in your face, in the seat next to you, right here in the same building with you, but you won't send up prayers to the Most High who's in the third heaven. Millions upon millions. Who knows how many miles he is from the earth? We don't know.
Right.
But you won't talk to him long distance, but you can't talk to your brother and sister right here 20 feet away. We're going to get it right. Go to 1 John. Where was that? We was in 3:18, right? Go to 1 John 4.
Bring it out.
1 John chapter 4,
verse 20.
Verse 7.
1 John chapter 4 and verse 7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. And every one that loveth is born of God and knoweth God.
Read on.
He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. And this was manifested, the love of God towards us.
This is how God showed that he loved us, right? Read on.
Because that God sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him.
So while we was in the midst of doing all manner of wickedness and wrong, straight up wrong in the eyes of God, He said, I'm going to send my son already and make peace with them. I'm not going to wait on them to come to me. I'm going to send my son and make peace with them. That's why I read earlier, Christ said, blessed are the peacemakers. Those that go and seek out to be reconciled to thy brother and sister. God made peace with us when we was in all manner of wickedness. We were straight up wrong. He sent his son. If you've been wrong, why don't you go make peace? Read on.
Verse 10. Herein is love.
That's love. Read on.
Not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his son to be the propitiation for our sin.
Before you even knew who Christ was, before you was even born, he would say, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knock it out the way and make peace with my people. Next verse.
Verse 11. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought also to love one another.
If he loved us, we should also love one another in word, in deed, and in truth, not with dissimulation. Verse 20.
1 John chapter 4 and verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen?
Read on.
And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth God love his brother also.
Give me Leviticus 19, 17, 18.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord.
I hope and I pray today that after all these scriptures that we went over precept upon precept, that you understand the severity of the times that we are living in, brothers, mainly sisters, and that whatever strife and bitter envying and grudges that you got between other sisters, and some of you sisters got grudges against brothers in here, that you take heed to the words of God, like we read earlier in Proverbs. Refuse it not, because he can take your life, which was lent to you at any moment, and you're going to have to answer to him for everything you have done in your body. And if you are nourishing hatred and animosity, don't think that eternal life is going to be given to you. Not accepting that.
Give Sirach 1:16. But earlier we went over the fruits of the Spirit and all the demonic spirits of the flesh. Read Sirach 1:16.
Sirach chapter 1 and verse 16. To fear the Lord is fullness of wisdom.
So we must understand, in order to get the fullness of wisdom, we must fear God. So I mean, we can't be doing all the attributes that we went over today. Murmuring, gossiping, backbiting, tale-bearing, holding grudges, sowing discord amongst one another. We cannot do that. We don't.
And filleth men with her fruit.
So if you want to exhibit the fruits of the Spirit, you got to do what? You got to fear the Lord. You got to fear the Lord first off. Once you do that, then you're gonna be filled with the fruits. Because just like we brought out earlier, ain't no guarantee that we're gonna see each other again. So is holding a grudge really worth it? If is sowing discord really worth it? It ain't. It ain't at all. It really ain't, man. Because if I got a grudge against officer, you know, God forbid, don't make it to see tomorrow, you know how crappy I feel? Damn, this man was on the earth, and I didn't make peace with my brother, and I gotta live the rest of my life regretting.
You know, in order to get to that feeling, though, you got to love me.
Right.
If you don't love me, it's just another nigga dead.
And you might as well go back out there, sell dope, prostitute. Don't be in here thinking like
Give me Hebrews 2 and 1.
Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 1. Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard.
We must examine the things that we have heard today. Because the Spirit of the Lord is with IUIC, and this thing's been brought out for a reason. There's some things in here that the Lord is not happy with. And whatever he's not happy with, he removes. He separates it. We read about that over and over in the scriptures. Don't be that one that it's going to take for you to be removed and suspended for a certain amount of time so you can work on yourself out there by yourself. Work on it in here while you got help. Read it again.
Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 1. Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip.
We should let them not be applied to our life. And the sin that is in us springs up in us and makes a root of bitterness, thereby defiles us. And nothing defiled shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. So I hope y'all been edified and see if you really believe in these words of God, or if you caught up in the lust of the flesh thereof and not walking in the Spirit. And then we can take it to the next level. Brothers, got any questions?
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel, Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this and join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.